Following is a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Out wide right with Ladero onto his favorite left foot. Finds Jack McGlynn centrally, just hit the post moments ago. No whistle as Musa got a tug of the jersey. We play on, ball in behind for Julio. Foot race here. Anderson, Julio, past Tarbell, empty net. Anderson, Julio!
After 32 matches, including the past 8 unbeaten, it could all come down to tonight for FC Dallas. A win tonight for the Burn, and they secure a place in the 2025 MLS Cup playoffs. Their opponent tonight is a familiar foe, the LA Galaxy, who Dallas just beat 2-1 last week in Toyota Stadium's regular season finale. There's also history on the line. Petter Musa can become Dallas's all-time single-season goal scorer with his next tally. It's a huge night for the Toros this evening out in the City of Angels as they face off with longtime foe LA Galaxy with so much riding on 90 minutes. Along the lines of the FC Dallas Radio Network, it is the FC Dallas pregame show presented by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Of course, a special shout out to everyone watching us on the Burncast tonight on YouTube as we're getting you ready. Send in your comments and your questions, and we'll answer those throughout the night, assuming that they come in, and assuming you send us something good. We're all about giving back here, but you got to give us something to work with. On tonight's presentation, we'll hear from North Texas SC General Manager Matt Denny. Our commentary team for the evening, Ryan Figert. Steve Davis will join me. We'll break down tonight's contest and all the things that you need. And speaking of Steve Davis, we welcome him in for a look at the major headlines coming into tonight. Steve, it's good to have you for another MLS After Dark excursion for us.
Howdy, Sam. It's good to be here.
It sure is. It's good to be in FC Dallas land right now because one win tonight for FC Dallas, and they're in. They control their own destiny as long as they can pick up 3 points tonight. And we'll talk about all the machinations and specifics later. But we watched this team all the way back to February when they debuted in Houston. What a journey it has been in every sense of the word. But to be here now on the penultimate day of MLS with a chance to knock your own playoff spot, punch your own ticket, I think that's pretty significant for the club, isn't it?
It is. I mean, first of all, it makes these 9:30 games a lot more exciting.
Boy, doesn't it?
You're right, man. It's such a twist in the tale, such a drastic swing in fate in the 2025 season. It seems like the two seasons, two completely different seasons have happened in these few months. Somebody reminded me, Sam, the other day that Nico Estevez was coaching here like just over a year ago.
That's right.
And that seems like that was 3 years ago. So much has happened. This season you really got to sort of divide it into pre and post Lucho. We've talked about how after Lucho's last start on July 4th, that's where the season completely swung. They're 5-10-6, 21 points in 21 games at that point. And at that point, Sam, talk of the playoffs seemed foolish. Mm-hmm. And since then, they lost the next game to LAFC. That's a good loss, not a bad loss. Since then, 5 wins, 1 loss, and 5 draws. I mean, it's a complete turnaround, and that's why they're here in the position that they are, that you just described, where they can clinch the playoff spot for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah, the Lucho Acosta era is something that we've already spilled a lot of verbal ink on, and I'm sure regardless of the season, how it ends, we'll do, again, some more. But it's good to see Dallas toss 20 points on the board over their last 10 or so games. Well, let's look at the lineup that's charged with getting that 3 points tonight. It sounds very familiar. Michael Colodi is in net. Lalas Abubakar, Osazi Urgide, Shaq Moore on that back line. Bernard Kamungo and Ramiro are alongside Keke and Christian Kappas. Patrickson, Petter Musa, Logan Farrington up top for FC Dallas. And the only tangible change there, Sebastian Ibeaga out. He had his first child the other day. Congratulations to him and his wife on baby Nola. But that brings in Ramiro to the right wing back spot, and that slides Lalas Abubakar in. And we'll talk about the machinations of that because there is some interesting factors. But having Ramiro back in is something we commented on last week that could be helpful for FC Dallas tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I think Ibeaga is just maybe a marginal add over Abubakar is a marginal add over Ibeaga. I think they're about the same. But you're right. Ramiro being back in is the important one because he's such a good communicator, such a good organizer. It's interesting that Eric Quill told us yesterday that Ramiro and Kappas are the best at that, are the best communicators. And I think where that becomes really important is in those late hectic moments when the structure is broken down and there's not such a designed pattern to the game where you do have to adjust very quickly, and so having Ramiro back in there, and also just he makes smart passes out of that position, so I think that's important. And then having Shaq back over into that center back spot, that one of the three, where he can get into the offense a little bit, and that's what Eric Quill wants him to do. So I think it's sort of back to where they were before. They looked a little disorganized last week, and I think those little changes sort of disrupted the rhythm that they had going.
And Ramiro's return might specifically benefit one player. We'll talk about that in our third segment. We call that a tease, ladies and gentlemen. But something that has not been teased so much as almost guaranteed, Petr Musa steps on the field tonight, tied with 3 others on 18. Tonight, he can get 19. He's got 5 goals in his last 5. You can argue outside of that guy named Messi, there's no one hotter in MLS right now. And, I obviously I don't think he's in the contention for MVP talk just because there's so many other good players. But even if, let's just hypothetically bet against him and say he doesn't get that 19th goal, he might have already slotted himself as the best striker in MLS history or in FC Dallas history at this point. He's got a case, doesn't he?
Oh, for sure. It's tough because I think best in history. You also have to sort of pass a longevity test, but he's pretty close to that. 2 full seasons. He missed a little bit of time this year, so but he's proven pretty durable. He likes to play a lot. So the other elements in the conversation, he's definitely got that 2-season goal record. I think he's going to get the single-season goal record. So yeah. As far as MVP in the league, it's a bad year to be a very good attacker because you got your Messi and your Dennis Bouanga and Anders Dreyer, Evander.
Sam Surridge is up there, too.
I was going to say 2 different guys in Nashville. There's Surridge being foremost in it. So, he's not going to be in that conversation. But, yes, when you start talking about best striker ever at FC Dallas, I think he's definitely in the conversation. I guess Hugo Sanchez, you'd have to say it is him, but he played for such a short time, So Hugo Sanchez probably the most talented striker ever, but best striker ever in the club. I think if he ain't there right now, he's darn close.
I mean, there's a lot of good names he's associated with, guys like Hugo Sanchez, guys like Jason Kreis, who has a lot of the goal scoring records, including the single season one that Musa is tied with. It's a good discussion to have, and I'm sure, regardless of whether Musa gets 19 or not, I think we all think he will. It'll be a discussion going forward. Speaking of guys that have made their mark with FC Dallas, it looks like another positive week for Paxton Pomykal. He makes his return last week, albeit in a short cameo due to game state. He is on the bench again tonight, and we talked with Eric Quill yesterday, and he said, hey, you can probably expect a little bit more unless something goes, pretty awry for FC Dallas.
Eric Quill told us that he wanted 15 minutes. That was the minute max that he had last week, had assigned to him. But Eric Quill wanted him to play that max 15 minutes. But we wondered on the broadcast that night if game state might have something to do with it, because coaches sometimes are a little hesitant to put a player in returning from injury in a really tight game like that. Where tackles matter, runs matter. Because Paxton's such a competitor, so he didn't get quite the minutes that he wanted. But I think we'll see him a little bit more tonight. And the thing is, we're a week and a half from that wild card game that it's looking more and more like if Dallas gets a result, they're not even going to be in. So we're 2 weeks from the best of 3 series. And if Paxton can get a few more minutes tonight, then 2 more weeks, he might be a realistic option as somebody that you could bring in for the last 30 minutes of a game, but really bring in and make an impact. So that's kind of best case scenario with him.
Yeah, it's one of the big storylines you need to track if you're an FC Dallas fan. In addition to this whole playoffs thing, is just Paxton's second return this year, because he could make a huge impact. And boy, very few teams could have an impact player like that come off and return for the playoffs like Dallas could with Paxton. Well, the other team on the side of tonight's matchup, they've been eliminated for weeks. We just saw them last week. Dallas wins 2-1. But they have made a handful of changes, and I'm sure we'll talk about the majority of them in our third segment. But the biggest one, Joseph Paintsel out. He's with Ghana on international duty. That means Gabriel Peck, who missed last week's game on the injury report, he comes back in and instantly becomes probably the most dangerous attacker for LA Galaxy. And with all due respect to Mr. Peck, he's not Joseph Paintsel.
Well, you're right, but Paintsville wasn't Peck last year.
Sure.
Gabriel Peck was the best winger in Major League Soccer in 24. It was with 30 goal contributions. He had 16 goals, 14 assists. A lot of that was because he was playing alongside a guy named Ricky Puig, who of course has been out all year. So, look, Paintsville has probably been he's definitely been the more effective player this year. But Gabriel Peck is still a heck of a winger, and he can still hurt you.
And we'll talk about, a couple of people are going to be charged with defending him tonight, and they've definitely got their work cut out for him. And just to make sure, anyone who's maybe tuning in that has been paying attention, no, Ricky Puig will not be in the lineup tonight. Everyone can breathe easy. He didn't play last week. He's not walking through that door a la Denny Bouanga a couple years ago.
No Marco Royce.
No Marco Royce either. There's a very specific stat I've got for our third segment that will tell you how down bad this LA Galaxy team is this week. It will stun you. That is, for without a question, a tease. But someone that never stuns but does awe is Steve Davis. We will talk to him in that aforementioned third segment. Steve, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sam.
When we return here on the FC Dallas Pregame Show, we'll hear from North Texas SCGM Matt Denny. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Logan Farrington, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Winner, winner, Chick-fil-A dinner. All season long when FC Dallas wins at home, fans win free Chick-fil-A. Be sure your Chick-fil-A app is up to date and location services are turned on when you attend matches at Toyota Stadium. After the team wins, before you leave your seats, open the app to redeem the Chick-fil-A offer. Welcome back to the FC Dallas Pregame Show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. In our next segment, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis will join me again, break down the lineups, the tactics, everything we need ahead of tonight's most important match for FC Dallas as they look to make the 2025 MLS Cup playoffs. But first, a reminder about the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed, where you can find all of our great content for free $99. Of course, our postgame show, it's been there now for our 4th year running. Highlights, stats, analysis, everything you need to know about the game that was in about 30 minutes, more or less. It goes live after the final whistle, and then we podcast it usually a couple hours after it finishes up, so you have it for your morning commute the next day or whenever you want to access it. And then, of course, this year we've added the FC Dallas Agenda, which goes live almost every Wednesday, pending internet problems or any other sort of gremlins that might join us. But, of course, when we're there, it's Ryan, Steve, and Garrett Meltzer, the FC Dallas Insider, giving you great analysis on the game that was, the game that will be, big picture topics, and, of course, great interviews. We've had guys like Eric Quill, Andre Zanata, anybody has been on the FC Dallas Agenda. So how do you hear it? Well, go to your podcast provider of choice, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, type in FC Dallas Radio Network, hit that subscribe button so you get all of our content when it drops, and again, most importantly, for free. And speaking of the agenda, let's give you a sneak peek of next week's episode, which features a great interview with our own Garrett Meltzer as he spoke with North Texas SC General Manager Matt Denny.
I feel like this year there's been a little bit more interconnectedness between second team and first team. And I'm curious, is that down to Eric Quill having come from the second team and knowing the benefit and the talent that's always within the ranks there? And what goes into the conversations of, will this player be in the FC Dallas roster this game? Will he, get minutes or move down to North Texas? How does that work internally, and what's the overall philosophy there?
I think you've seen it year after year. Our philosophy is we want to use this North Texas avenue to get minutes, right? So that's the key is if a player's not getting minutes at the first team, there's opportunity to get minutes. And the thing that really is the struggle or the challenge is Eric's got to put his squad together and figure out, look, what if I start this player and what if he gets injured? Who's the opportunity? And then is it better for him to be on the bench or go get minutes with North Texas? Obviously, the priority is having what he needs. So it's a real challenge going back and forth. And we have seen a lot of movement this year. I think we always see a lot of movement, but it's been kind of a lot more back and forth rather than kind of periods of time. And, everyone's had to deal with injuries. First team's got a whole new roster. We've got a whole new roster. And it's interesting, but every week it keeps us on our toes, and what we think is going to happen on a Monday is totally different from what happens on Friday. So it's exciting, it's interesting. It takes a lot of people kind of working together and communicating, being on the same page. So it's the nature of the beast of the second team. We're in the middle of everything.
And it certainly helps that Eric Quill completely understands that mechanism between second team, because of course you helped hire him originally for North Texas back in 2019. Even then, did you and the organization see him as a future FC Dallas coach if, things fell into place and timing worked out? And of course, if he was successful with North Texas, which he eventually was very successful with North Texas.
Yeah, he was great with North Texas. And for me personally, I was very new to this and learning as we go. I was learning from what Eric was the only coach in this role that I knew. I didn't realize how good he was until he left. And you see the strengths and the positive stuff. And what he does really well is create that locker room and talk to the players and communicate with the players. And if he makes a decision that they might not like, tell them why and people understand. So, yeah, Eric's, I didn't realize it at the time, but the more and more time went on and seeing how successful he was in other places as well really cemented how good of a coach he is.
If you want to hear that full interview, again, it'll be on the FC Dallas agenda this coming Wednesday. Garrett and Matt talk all about the new stadium in Mansfield, what that means for the league, what that means for the team, and just a whole interesting level of topics, including Sam Sarver, possible MVP. That's covered as well. Again, FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed, and check out the FC Dallas agenda almost every Wednesday with Ryan, Steve, and Garrett. But now, when we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, Ryan and Steve will join me to help break down the lineups and tactics for tonight's matchup. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar. Wow. At the world of WinStar.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Sebastian Leggett, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. We've got about 20 minutes until kickoff at Dignity Health Sports Park, so let's go ahead and get you tonight's starting lineups, which are brought to you by AdvoCare. We'll start first with the home side LA Galaxy and fifth-year head coach Greg Vanney. As Novak Micevic in net for the Galaxy, Mickey Yamane, Maya Yoshida, Emiro Garces, and John Nelson on the back line. Former Dallas man Edwin Cerrillo, Diego Fagundes, and Elijah Winder in the midfield. Gabriel Peck, Mateus Nascimento, and Mauricio Cuevas up top for Greg Vanney. And now let's hear the starting lineup for FC Dallas and first-year head coach Eric Quill.
Michael Colodi, goalkeeper, Frisco, Texas.
Lalas Abubakar, central defender, University of Dayton.
Osaze Origide, centre back, Netherlands, Nijmegen.
Shaq Moore, right back, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Ramiro Benetti, midfielder, Brazil.
Kaique, midfield, Brazil.
Christian Capes, midfielder, Houston, Texas.
Bernard Camungo, I'm a winger, and I'm from Abilene, Texas.
Patrickson, mediocampista, Ecuador. Logan Farrington, striker, Racine, Wisconsin.
Petar Musa, forward, from Zagreb, Croatia.
And substitute for Dallas: Anderson, Julio, Paxton Pomacall, Pedrinho, Alvaro, Josh Torquato, Sebastian Biaga, Sam Sarver, Jake Jackson, and Enes Salih. Now let's bring in the voices of tonight's contest. It's Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And Ryan, it is big pressure, as we've already talked about extensively tonight. Dallas wins. They are guaranteed a spot in the MLS Cup playoffs for this year, first time since 2013. And this is a big pressure moment, but at the same time, I think when you look at big pressure moments, Eric Quill is the guy you really want at the helm to try to get you over the line for a moment like this.
Yeah, I mean, he's got this team playing in such a good moment right now. They understand each other. The chemistry has come along so well in this new formation, new shape, led by some new leadership in the locker room as well, the likes of Ramiro. So much going right for the team, and I think they see this as a huge opportunity rather than feeling the pressure of the weight of trying to, clinch the playoff spot. If you don't win tonight, next week you're going to really feel the pressure on the road at Vancouver. They have a huge opportunity to avoid that and, fight for something better than missing the playoffs next week. Fight for 7th place, fight for 6th place in Vancouver next week, and avoid the pressure of, your season could all come down to decision day. So huge opportunity tonight. I think the team is in a great moment to try and take advantage.
Yeah, this is not a team that if you're down the stretch right now in MLS or even in the playoffs, I'm not sure FC Dallas is a team you want to face because there's no team really in better form. Maybe LAFC, but Dallas is right up there on the form schedule. But, Steve, this has not really been the case in total for the Galaxy between Dallas and LA in their history. If you look at all time at Dignity Health Sports Park, and we're not going all the way back to the Rose Bowl, Cotton Bowl days, because, boy, that just makes us all feel a certain way. 7 wins, 20 losses, 4 draws at that particular venue. But, again, that's not the best metric, mainly because over the last 10, 4 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws. And a lot of those losses back in the day, and I'm sure you know this better than most, those were some super teams. Those are the Beckham teams, the Donovan teams. It's not the same team in Galaxy right now.
A lot of good players back there, the Robbie Keane days. The other thing, Sam, is Dallas has had, even back then, Dallas has had some big wins inside that stadium. 2010, they really took it to the Galaxy in the conference final before they got to the one and only MLS Cup final that they've reached. 2016, they won there in the Open Cup to make it into the final, and later they clinched the Supporters' Shield in that stadium. 2023, Nicolas Teves' team went in there and whooped up on the Galaxy, and that was a 4-1 win on decision day. And somebody in the starting lineup tonight had 2 goals in that game, so he's got you know who that is, right? That's Bernie Kamungo.
It is Bernie Kamungo.
He had 2 goals, so he's got good memories of it. So yeah, you're right. A lot of that stuff, the poor record was in previous years, and lately it's been about even out there in LA.
And that is that 2023 win that you and I were both on the call for that day was the last win out in LA because, of course, last year was not so great on the road for FC Dallas. We're not going to worry about that.
Yep.
But a change in the lineup tonight, Ryan, that is Ramiro is back in. Ibiaga, the new father, is out. Eric Quill even mentioned yesterday when we talked to him, he hasn't slept a lot, so we've got to make some concessions. So first off, congratulations to the Ibiagas for that. That's a great milestone for them. And for Dallas, obviously you never like to see changes in a lineup that's been so consistent. But having Ramiro back in there just in general is such a huge pickup for Dallas.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel great if both of those 2 guys were out of the lineup because I think they're a huge part of the locker room, a huge part of the on-field communication. But it's good to get Ramiro back in there. I think his presence really helps, especially Kaique in there alongside him in the midfield positions of just understanding the game around him, sort of coaching him through the game. And obviously there's the language barrier as well, being able to translate on the fly between a Capes and a Kaique, having somebody out there who is bilingual in that way. It's just really important for the team, and his leadership has been so huge to this entire stretch ever since Lucho Costa left, and he and Martin Paz took over the captaincy together. Great to see Ramiro back in there, not only for his quality on the field, but also what he brings to the group as a leader.
Yeah, Quill yesterday called him Captain Ramiro in our talk with him, and he's been really good. And Steve, he and Bernie are going to have a challenge tonight because Gabriel Peck is back in on one side, and they've put Mauricio Cuevas mainly because their roster is really short. But that is a decent amount of speed on the outside that both of these guys are going to have to contend with. And while Bernie has shown himself to be very up for that challenge, Ramiro, while he's got a great brain for it, the physical gifts aren't as robust as like what Kamungo has to feature.
Yeah, now usually Peck is going to play on the right side, but who knows, what they might do in terms of just that matchup. But Ramiro is just smart enough. He knows how to keep himself out of trouble. He reads the game really well, and if you can read the play, I say it all the time, read the play earlier than the other guy, you get a jump on him, then you don't necessarily have to have that kind of speed. And the other thing there, the X factor is we know how many of those messes that a certain Osaze Urigide can clean up. So as long as you've got that guy behind you, he can get over there lickety-split if you do get beaten in behind.
Yeah, I don't envy Matias Nascimento because he probably gets to draw the Osaze assignment to start with. Have fun,
and no
man.
matter what, the speed advantage has gone away from last week, what we saw with Paintsville. I mean, he was absolutely rapid, and he was the one player that we've seen all season able to beat Osaze in a foot race. I think if Osaze maybe was a little more attuned to the speed of Paintsville, maybe he takes a better angle, and that doesn't happen. But thankfully, there's not going to be a rematch between those two tonight because Paintsville's on international duty. But, yeah, big downgrade in the speed. Even though Peck has a lot of quality, you're not going to see that burning down the wing that we saw from Joseph Paintsville.
Yeah, Peck is going to beat you more with technique and with savvy and his positioning, and he's just a good player. He is not speed-wise what Paintsville is.
Yeah, Osaze on that foot race with Paintsville is very much the Shaq meme. I was unfamiliar with your game. You could see it in real time. Well, that does bring us to a lot of out Galaxy players tonight. Of course, Joseph Paintsville, he's with Ghana on international duty. That's 9 goals, 2 assists off the board for the Galaxy. Marco Royce out with injury. That's another 5 goals and 8 assists. He's their assist leader this year. That by itself, over a fourth of the Galaxy's goals and a third of their total assists. Oh, by the way, Christian Ramirez is out. Lucas Sanabria. You've also got Harbor Miller out, and that takes another 6 goals and an assist out. So you are talking about almost over half of the goals that the Galaxy have scored this year and over a third of their assists just in general. I mean, Steve, this is a team that they're already not scoring a lot. They're already not doing so well. And now a great amount of their offensive firepower is just not available to Greg Manny.
That's true, but again, I'm just going to tell you that Peck is a good player, and Diego Fagundes, he scored in his last 3 games across all competitions, and he certainly hit a nice goal last week at Toyota Stadium. So it's not like they aren't without players who can hurt you a little bit. Edmund Cerrillo he's turned into a really good, solid midfielder. He just understands his game so well, and that he's well positioned. He's got a little bite to his game. He's clean in possession. He gets the ball off his foot. So with him as a connector playing into Fagundes and Peck, I'm telling you, there's still ways this team can hurt you a little bit. Yamane can still get up and down the wing a little bit. So we keep talking about how many players they have out, but I'm telling you, they still have guys that can hurt you.
I love when you bring me there because that was my next point here. Gabriel Peck is back. He had a really good 24. He's having a solid 25, but it's been derailed by a couple different things, mainly the Galaxy not being that good. And, of course, Diego Fagundes led the scoring last week, a goal that kind of shocked FC Dallas. They've admitted as such in the past. But it looks like based on what we're seeing now, Fagundes will play a little deeper due to these roster constraints. So, Ryan, when you look at the challenges that Peck and Fagundes present, who do you think will be charged with stopping them, and how do you think they go about that?
Yeah, they're both players that are, they like to combine. They like to come into the middle of the field. So I think it changes from what we saw last week where Paintsville likes to get down the line. He likes to get in behind. So the challenge is now going to be with the midfielders for Dallas. Can Kappas and Kaike help out, with the wingbacks? Do the wingbacks need to come into the middle of the field a little bit more and support? If Peck is playing off the right like we expect, he likes to cut in onto his left, and he's going to be driving in towards Christian Kappas' area, as well as Shaq Moore there playing as the left center back we expect. So it's going to be a sort of a group effort against those two guys because those are their main firepower available to them today, and they like to cut inside a little bit more. So, be aware of that when it comes to the midfield positions.
And on the other side of the defense, Steve, we noted Mickey Yamane in as a starter tonight. Maya Yoshida back in as a starter for the Galaxy. Nelson out on the left back. He started against Dallas. And you've also got Emiro Garces, who was out with suspension. It's a pretty radically changed defense from last week here at Toyota Stadium. But they do have to face off against Pedro Musa and Logan Farrington, the dynamic duo, or the perfect Parrington, as our commentator friend has noted. What do you think that back line is, or how do they match up against Dallas's strike duo?
Yeah, look, Yoshida's a good player. He's just older and just a little bit slower, but he's still a tough defender in there. Garces is not bad at all, I don't think. He had to sit out last week for a red card suspension. So I think the center backs are actually better tonight, assuming that Yoshida is healthy, fully healthy after missing last week. So, on the other side of the coin, Logan Farrington just didn't have a really great game last week. He's always bringing the effort, but last week the passing, the connections just weren't there. It's just a little bit of a rugged performance. So I expect a bounce back, but he does need to be a little bit better, a little bit cleaner on the ball. Generally, Dallas wasn't very clean on the ball last week. Their 73, I think, percent possession was the lowest in this run.
Their passing percentage.
Their passing percentage, possession, yeah. It was the lowest in this run, this unbeaten run, except for the St. Louis game, and of course they played that one, a lot of that when the man down. So Eric Will noted that the passing needs to be a little better.
And meanwhile, in net, trying to keep out Petermusa's 19th among all the other goals they're going to have to hopefully deal with, it's Novak Mikcevic. He didn't start last week. It was JT Marcinkowski. And Marcinkowski looked very average last week. And Mikcevic, for his season, he was in net for the 2013 4-1 game that Dallas won on decision day. This year, he's allowing just about 2 goals a game. He's got a save percentage in the mid-60s. There's not many great options for Galaxy in net, and it looks like they've realized, well, last week didn't work out. Let's try something else this week.
Yeah, I mean, you took all the stats that I was about to read out, and I don't have much more to add to it, but it is interesting to see the contrasting scenarios between the goalkeeping groups on both sides. Dallas feels like they have such strength and depth with Collodi starting, Jackson on the bench, Martin Paz coming back soon from international duty. 3 guys that you'd feel comfortable with starting week in, week out. On the Galaxy side, and even last year in their MLS Cup run, you don't really feel great about any of the goalkeepers that they've had, in recent memory. So they stick with Mitrovic tonight, who's been the starter for most of the season. But as you mentioned, he was also in goal for that 4-1 first half thrashing in 2023, which Dallas could really use a nice repeat of tonight. Hopefully we see it again.
That would be just lovely. And something that I always feel great about is tonight's keys to the game. They're brought to you by Toyota, and they're also brought to you by Steve Davis.
Thank you, Sam. Number 1, just deny the balls into Peck and Fagundes because, the defense is playing so well lately, just 7 goals allowed and this 8-game unbeaten streak. So the key defensively is just making sure you understand those are the guys that can really hurt you. Deny the early outlets into those guys, into those 2. Deny the balls in transition into them, and you probably got a pretty good chance tonight. Number 2, we just talked about it, better passing. Possession wasn't awful last week, but it wasn't sharp. The details in the passing and receiving just weren't tended to. Every pass counts. The passing and possession just needs to be a little bit better tonight. And then number 3 is selective pressing. When Dallas gets in their mid-block structure, FCD is they're so hard to play through, and that's another reason they've conceded so few goals lately. So they tended to press up a little bit higher last week because they got behind early, and it just didn't work as well. So better just hunker into that mid-block and low block and press out of that when you can. Do a little bit more of that tonight. They'll be okay. Those are your keys presented by Toyota.
Thank you, Steve. And one score of note tonight. We're not going to totally scoreboard watch because it is an international week with not many, but one that already favors FC Dallas. Vancouver 2, Orlando 1 earlier in the evening. That puts Vancouver at the top of the Western Conference with 63 points and a game to go. It might help FC Dallas just enough next week as they head to BC Place to take on the Whitecaps. But that's going to do it for tonight's pregame show. When we return, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for tonight's MLS After Dark showdown between FC Dallas and the LA Galaxy. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Welcome to the world of WinStar. The world of WinStar.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's children's health. Incredible together.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Sebastian Ibiaga. Tonight's FC Dallas match is up next, right here on the FC Dallas app.
Well, welcome into Dignity Health Sports Park, where tonight, 32 games, over 9 months of work, all comes down to one thing. Win, and you're in. FC Dallas is on the road in LA for the second of 2 straight with the reigning champions, and they're looking to match that win, the result from the home game a week ago. The Galaxy themselves lifted MLS Cup less than a year ago on this same patch of grass, but nothing about this 2025 season will be held in that high of regard. They're playing for pride, they're playing for their jobs as Dallas plays to punch their ticket to the playoffs tonight. I'm Ryan Figured here on the FC Dallas Radio Network, joined as always by Steve Davis. And Steve, we're just a few minutes away from kickoff out in Carson, California. Great night for soccer in the high 60s, clear skies, and one thing on the mind of Eric Quill and FC Dallas. As I said, winning your end, everything to play for tonight.
You know, a few weeks ago, Eric Quill told us we're going to see if this team has the character to fight their way in. I think we've seen it. I think they're very close, and even if something were to happen where they didn't somehow get in, we've seen a lot from this team over the last few weeks, and you have to feel pretty good that they can indeed finish the job and go ahead and fight their way in.
Yeah, this long unbeaten streak, peaking at the right time, but also taking care of business against the teams you're supposed to beat. 6-2-2 against non-playoff teams this season. Decent record against playoff teams, but that 6-2-2 that's so crucial. I mean, even in the season when they had such a difficult stretch during the summer, when you pick up the points in the games you're supposed to win, in MLS, often enough, that's enough to get you into the playoff positions. That's what we've seen with Dallas this year.
Yeah, well, they've importantly, they fixed their home form. 5-1-1 at home since Lucho Acosta's last start, and then on the road they haven't won during that time, but neither have they lost. 4 wins or 4 times on the road since then, and all 4 draws, and that's good enough.
Yeah, Galaxy without a lot of pieces. We talked about it on the pregame show. They've chopped and changed some in their lineup. Dallas making just the one change as Ramiro replaces Sebastian Ibiaga, who's available off the bench today. But, even when the Eric Quill has had to make changes over this run, I think we've seen such a development in terms of the consistency of the group. One piece in it, here or there, maybe Petar Musa aside, isn't going to change the way the team's going to play. And I think that's what we've seen as they develop this consistency in the tactics.
Yeah, but it did sort of change. It did sort of interrupt the rhythm last week, because they had such a good thing going. I mean, they were playing really good soccer. They weren't just getting the results. I mean, they just looked like, a good team. They passed the eye test, too. And I think just making those 2 little changes last week, I know it's just one personnel change, but that moved a couple of guys around. And I think it did disrupt them a little bit, and now it's back to what we were seeing before.
Well, in this matchup of MLS Originals, Dallas donning the legacy kit, the burn black and gold. Here in this first half, looks like they'll move from left to right. Galaxy in their all-white here at home tonight. And a matchup that goes all the way back to 1996, in which Dallas won the first 2 matchups with the LA Galaxy, 5-2 and 3-2. The next few years after that didn't go quite as well when these two faced off. Jair Marufo, a man with plenty of experience in the middle tonight. And he's got the whistle as we await kickoff from Carson, California. 48 years old from El Paso, Jair Marufo, but in his 24th season in Major League Soccer, Dallas has now played 37 games with Jair Marufo in charge.
When a minute ago when you talked about those initial matches between the LA Galaxy back when they were playing in the Rose Bowl and FC Dallas, or didn't call the Dallas Burn, I just real quick, I wondered if Jair Marufo did either of those games.
I think his first season was 2003.
But he hasn't been quite that, he hasn't gone quite back that far.
Well, the 30th season for both of these 2 clubs. And the final matchup between them, 2 straight. Obviously, it's something that's a bit of a scheduling quirk with the rescheduled game. Just the 7th time Dallas has ever played back-to-back regular season games against the same team, and they need the same result they got a week ago. Win and you're in. We are underway from Carson, California, as Michael Colodi launches it long, targeting Petar Musa straight from kickoff. Breaks for Patrickson Delgado, fresh off scoring his first goal of the season last week. Bernie Kamungo trying the cross, deflected straight up in the air. Yoshida wins the header. Dallas keep possession though, high up the field with Logan Farrington. Kappas gets it wide for Kamungo. Kamungo goes low this time, and the cross again blocked, this time out for a throw.
I thought Bernie Kamungo might have been Dallas's best player last week, all things considered, and he's right into the attack tonight with 2 early cross attempts.
Takes a throw in, finds Kaike in the middle. Back to Lawless Abubakar on the right of the back 3. Shaq Moore on the left, receives it now from Uragide. Here's Moore looking for the long ball forward. Musa holds off his man, brings it down, looking for the ball out to Farrington. It's blocked. Now finds Musa again in the middle. Musa chipped in behind for Patrickson and poked away by Johnny Nelson, out for a throw. This time on the near side, and Dallas off to a hot start here in the opening minute. Ramiro, captain's armband back on his left bicep, starting the game again tonight after dealing with some muscle tightness last week. He lifts this one ahead, high up in the air. Patrickson challenging for it. Cerrillo able to volley clear. And Abubakar whistled for a foul. Not sure he did too much wrong there, but Nascimento took the tumble and got the free kick.
You know, one thing we didn't talk about in the pregame show as far as LA Galaxy and motivation, they sit in last place in the West right now, and they have talked a little bit about wanting to avoid that last place finish, and you know, they're only 3 points behind Sporting Kansas City, so you know, with the win and they have one more game at home, maybe they could avoid that.
Got Dallas tonight, obviously, and then Minnesota on the final day, again at Dignity Health Sports Park. Cerrillo lifts this one out to Yamane. Yamane, Yoshida, and Garces along the back line tonight for Greg Vanny. That's 3 of the 4 that started every game and run to MLS Cup in 2024. Yoshida missed out last week with an ankle injury. Garces was suspended. As Nelson lifts this one down the line. Cuevas tries to take it down off the chest. Abubakar able to play it clear. And then Kaike looking to return it to him. Plays it straight out. It'll be a Galaxy throw.
Kaike is so young, you know, he's going to have some up and down performances this week. I just want to see him just add some defensive awareness, just know his positioning every time out.
There's Winder high up the field trying to hold off the pressure from Abubakar, who goes flying in with the tackle, and it cannons last off of Cuevas and out for a goal kick. Nice tackle there from Lawless.
Dallas 4-3-8 on the road this year. It's 20 points. That's a really good total. Last year, only 9 points gathered on the road all year, and of course, Dallas can still gather some more points here tonight and against Vancouver on decision day.
Yeah, Eric Quill made sure to let the media know this week he feels like the team can go and get a result in Vancouver, but he doesn't want to have to, and that's what Dallas's task is today. A win would mean that their playoff position will be secured no matter what happens on decision day. Could still move up as high as 6th place as things stand and avoid that 8 versus 9 play-in game. It's got to start with a win tonight. Secure these final 3 points in this back-to-back with the Galaxy. We've got a throw in here on the near side. Nelson takes it into Cerrillo. Cerrillo back for Garces. Moves it over to Yoshida. Farrington and now Kamungo pressing high up the field. The Galaxy play through it well. Shaq Moore steps out to Gabriel Peck. First chance for him to get involved. Here's a ball through the lines for Nascimento. Nascimento now, top of the 18. Poked away from him by a lunging Lawless Abubakar. And now Dallas will look to play out. Kaike had first touch, but he's cleaned it up on the second opportunity. As Cerrillo went flying in, referee plays advantage. Here's a ball through the middle for Farrington. Receives it from Kappas. Out wide now for Bernie Kamungo as Farrington's left on the turf. This one's lifted in towards Petar Musa at the back post. Heavy first touch there from Musa. And Patrickson recovers the loose ball. Now Patrickson 1-2 with Ramiro down the line on the near side through the legs of Cuevas, but can't get back to it. Cuevas sends it clear, and Uragide retrieves it in the center circle.
Really good transition attack there from FC Dallas. Petar Musa at the back post just didn't have the cleanest touches on the end of it.
Patrickson on the right side, early cross, looking for Farrington, volleyed away by Garces, and Kappas absolutely cleared out as he won the header. Not sure how that wasn't a foul, but possession stays with Dallas.
I think maybe Murphy just played advantage there.
Here's Kappas now on the dribble through the middle, ball in behind for Petar Musa, top of the box, lost his footing just as he got the shot away. And leaves a big chunk of turf displaced in the aftermath of this attempt. Great work from Kappas to set up the opportunity.
Well, that's the precision and the detail that was missing last week. It was the right run from Musa. It was the right timing on the pass from Kappas. Musa just went to uncork the shot at about 17 yards, slightly moving at an angle to the right, and he just slipped on that plant foot.
Imane on the dribble from outside to in, pressured by Kamungo and Patrickson. Now across to John Nelson. Dallas definitely willing to put the pressure higher up the field here, even on the road. And to force a mistake from the Galaxy. Have been prone to those self-inflicted wounds this season. This time they play out well, find Cerrillo, who gets it wide for Peck. 1v1 with Bernie Kamungo. Couple of step overs, now Peck coming in field. 1-2 with Fagundes, back to Peck. Kaike able to win it back cleanly, says the referee. And now looking to start the counter. Out wide for Patrickson here on the near side. Doesn't see anything ahead of him, goes back for Ramiro. Ramiro will go down the line, but Fagundes steps in the way and puts it out for a throw.
So Dallas, of course, in that familiar shape that we've seen over the last month or so, 5-2-3 when they defend, with that backside winger sort of dropping in, so it becomes the third midfielder. They get into the attack. It looks like a 3-4-1-2. Delgado sort of has the option of sliding underneath as Logan Farrington goes up a little bit higher alongside Petar Musa.
Miro's got a second opportunity at a throw here on the near side. Combination with Patrickson. Switch the play here through Uragide. Uragide rolls one between the lines for Kamungo. Nice dummy there, leaving it for Kappas, but Yoshida did well to read the play. And now the Galaxy can counter with the Dallas midfield out of position. Here's Cuevas off the left. Cuevas onto his favorite right foot. Nascimento sets it back for Cerrillo. Now out wide for Gabriel Peck. Onto his favorite left foot. Whips this one towards the back post, where Collodi makes a nice diving save. And there's the danger Gabriel Peck and the Galaxy can post tonight.
Yeah, Dallas just a little disorganized there. Maybe Bernie Kamungo's got to step out a little bit quicker on Gabriel Peck, but provided just enough resistance so that Peck didn't hit that with everything that he wanted to. And pretty comfortable save for Michael Collodi.
Yeah, not dissimilar to that early Fagundes goal at Toyota Stadium, just mirror image.
Yeah, Peck just a little further out.
Fagundes again looking for the 1-2 with Nascimento. Kappa's volley's clear. Yoshida under pressure from Farrington turns back and plays it to his goalkeeper, Mitrovic. Was a net for the 4-1 first half mauling that Dallas put on the Galaxy a couple seasons ago on decision day. And they hope he's their long-term #1, but he hasn't been too convincing in his opportunities this season. In his 19th start, he's on the ball here, waiting for the pressure from the Dallas front line. Now rolls it into Fagundes, back for Nelson. His first time ball ahead is intercepted by Uragide, just holds off Nascimento with ease. And possession now between the Dallas center backs. Shaq Moore turn back and play Collodi. He's kept his spot in goal here with Jackson returning to the bench. Rubicard down the line here in the Dallas half for Ramiro. Finds the ball into the feet of Farrington, looking to get turned. He's tripped up by Cerrillo. Second time Cerrillo has left Farrington down in some pain. He's holding his left ankle here. Cerrillo was fortunate to get away without a yellow card on a foul that wasn't called as the referee played advantage a couple minutes ago. He's got all of Logan Farrington on that play.
Yeah, Maruf, who came over and had a quick little conversation with Cerrillo, so I don't think he'll get away with another tough foul.
Black hoodie and red cap for Eric Quill tonight on the touchline. As the ball is sent down the line, looking for Ramiro. Nelson plays it off of Ramiro, but then bounces back off himself and out for a Dallas throw in the attacking area. A win tonight would pull Dallas onto an even 11 wins, 11 losses, and 11 draws with 1 game to go. Ramiro to Musa, wide right here. Musa just steps through 2 defenders, whips this one in towards Farrington. It was a good ball, and just evaded Logan inside the 6-yard box. Breaks for Bernie Kamungo now. Sees 2 defenders, checks it back for Shaq Moore. Right-footed shot in the end. Looked like he was shaping up to cross. Instead went for goal, and that went over the bar.
Well, we haven't seen Petter Moose out on the wing very much, but boy, he just hit a great cross.
Logan just got to go for the header.
I mean, I was going to say, I don't want to tell Logan Farrington how to play striker, but I think if he launches there and just maybe it was a little too far ahead of him, maybe that's what he judged, but he sort of tried to flying kung fu kick it, and I think you're right. I think if he'd gone for the header, I think it's 1-0.
Elijah Winder back to Yoshida. Winder keeping his spot in midfield there with Cerrillo. Peck just through the legs of Shaq Moore. He's got now Bernie Kamungo and Shaq Moore for company as he makes his way down the line on the far side. Goes down, touches the ball with his hand. Referee's content to play on as Bernie Kamungo's back on the ball for Dallas. Switching ball from Kaike puts Ramiro in a bit of an awkward spot. Colodi able to help him out and send it clear. Urguide out of position. He's given it away out on the right wing. Now Fagundes balling behind for Cuevas. Towards the byline on the near side. Chipped ball towards the back post. Peck is going to have to chase it down towards the corner flag. Dallas scrambling to get back in formation. Step overs from Gabriel Peck. Sets it back, top of the box for Yamane. Yamane looking for a lane to shoot. Now lifts the cross in, blocked behind, corner coming.
You were right, Ryan, a minute ago. I had to look twice as Colodi made an outlet ball at about 40 yards. I thought, is that a Urguide out there? And it was, and he didn't hold possession, and the net out there is that they got a corner kick, and maybe are lucky that's all it is.
Definitely sent Dallas into scramble mode once they realized Osaze was not in the heart of the back line. Gabriel Peck lining up to take this corner kick from the far side. He goes short. Fagundes gets it back from Yamane, now wide on the far side. Still looking to work an advantage. Dallas gets 2 defenders out to it. And the short corner is really broken down here for the Galaxy. They still have it, forced all the way back now towards the halfway line with Edwin Cerrillo. Good attentiveness there from Dallas as the long ball's lifted over the top. Farrington is going to retrieve it near the corner flag on the far side. Sends it down the field off the left foot. Decent ball as well, looking for Patrickson. Defended away from him by Nelson. Fagundes through the lines. Winder tripped up there by Kamungo. Referee plays advantage as Gabriel Peck's on the ball. Peck looking to get to his left foot, runs into Kaike. Clearance breaks for Farrington. Farrington's got to throw for Dallas.
Yeah, Bernie Kamungo got away with one there. As Marufo, I think, correctly played the advantage for the LA Galaxy.
Well, considering no Paintsill and Peck being the main outlet offensively, you think it's going to be a long night of defensive work for Bernie Kamungo. A big test. Picked up an assist and showed some really good quality with the ball last week.
Yeah, it sort of works the other way too. I mean, if Bernie Kamungo can get into the attack, it's going to force Peck to get back and defend.
Patrickson unable to connect there with Ramiro. Ball out for a Galaxy throw. Working under some pressure here from Patrickson. He's chasing it all the way back to Micevic. Micevic showing some composure, lifts it out to Garces, and Garces juggling it over Ramiro finds Nelson. That time well played, but then it's turned over on the halfway line by Nascimento. Eric Quill was holding the ball where Ramiro needed to take the throw. Ramiro went to go find the extra ball, and now he's being pointed back to where he should take the throw in. Sends it down the line for Farrington. Farrington holds off tensions of a couple of defenders. Cuevas, a couple of bites at the heels of Logan Farrington, who's just got too much there in terms of strength. And eventually Farrington wins the foul.
No.
Now Farrington's been thrown to the ground.
Somebody's getting a red card.
Red card.
It's Logan Farrington.
Immediately out of the pocket for Jair Marufo. And this could change everything.
It's because of something he did on the ground, or while the Galaxy player was on the ground. And you could just tell that was coming. And, you know, one of the issues there is Marufo's got to blow his whistle a little bit earlier.
He's been so lax with the whistle and let so much go in these opening 15 minutes. And Farrington's fouled 2 or 3 times before eventually the whistle goes. And that's not enough for a red card. We've just seen the replay. Unless there's something that happened after what we were just shown, there's no world for me where that's enough for a red card.
Farrington's going to get fined too because he's not walking off. Well, that changes things a lot.
We await any potential intervention from VAR. That's Michael Radchuk today.
There's a little stabbing motion, kicking motion, and I think it had a lot to do with where it was against Cuevas.
For me, this feels like a textbook yellow card to both guys, and we play on. Really surprised to see the red card out so quickly.
Yeah, I kind of agree, though. I don't know that I saw a whole lot there.
I mean, Farrington's just been thrown to the ground into another player by Cuevas. And he's trying to get up. Cuevas is still wrapped around his leg. And now we're hearing Farrington's own description of the events.
Both players are giving and getting it. I agree with you, Ryan. I don't think I saw anything there that rises to the level of serious foul play, violent conduct.
Wow.
I mean,
that is one of the softest red cards I think I've ever seen upheld, even after review. And now Dallas, a man light. If it wasn't all on Pedermusa's back before, it certainly is now. It's such an important game as well. I don't think Logan's done much wrong there.
I think it had to do with, again, where it was, which was sort of between Cuevas' legs.
It's only because Cuevas has wrapped his legs around Farrington's leg to prevent him from getting up and taking the free kick.
I agree.
It's just a bad decision.
I think that would have been. I really think if Marufo shows a yellow card there, it just calms everybody down. I think the LA Galaxy players would probably be okay with it.
So Dallas now will play 70 plus, a man down. By the looks of things, shifting maybe more towards a 4-4-1. Kamungo playing ahead of Shackmore. And Pedermusa leading the line all on his own.
Yeah, so Bernard Kamungo moves into that left midfield position. Patrickson on the right. I think you're right. It'll be 4-4-1, at least as they defend.
Cuevas on the left wing. Ramiro defending. Here's the 1-2 back to Cuevas inside the area towards the back post, evades everybody and rolls just wide.
Cuevas had 2 runners at the back post. I think he tried to shoot.
It was a nice 1-2, and Dallas coming to grips with the new formation. Just got carved open there.
Yeah, he got on the inside of Ramiro. Yeah, he may have tried to. I think he was actually trying to square it across for Peck at the back post and just hit it a little too hard.
Thinking about the Farrington red card. Also, of course, now he'll miss next week's game in Vancouver. And if they deem it as violent conduct, I mean, you've seen more than one game given in those situations. I don't think there's enough there even to warrant
unless there's
a red
something
card.
that we didn't see somehow. I don't know what it would be, but yeah, I don't think that's going to be more than the one game.
Such an important time. Dallas now going to have to dig even deeper try and punch their ticket to the playoffs. And now Ramiro with a hard foul.
That's not good because now he's going to miss next week.
Yellow card for Ramiro. Cuevas, the player on the receiving end of that foul. Now no Ramiro in Vancouver.
He was one of 2 players sitting on yellow card warning along with Peter Musa. Yeah, that's
a lot worse than what Farrington just did.
It was, and I hope he's not in trouble here, but I don't think there was enough force in it. But yeah, he reaches out with his right leg, and with the stiff leg, he gets the ankle. And yeah, I agree. I think that was worse than the other one. But don't tell Marufo that.
Yeah, 24th year, though, as an MLS official. He's got it covered, clearly. Fagundes whipping it in from the free kick towards the back post over everybody's head. Shaq Moore ends up in the back of the net himself as Elijah Winder appeals for a corner kick. It's going to be a goal kick.
Well, I hope Dallas can find some ways, to keep some possession here, because if you remember against St. Louis a few weeks ago, once the early red card came out, it was just defend, defend, defend. They really didn't have much of the ball at all. Even a man light against the LA Galaxy, the last place team in the West, you should be able to manufacture a few chances.
Musa trying to hold off the defender there as Colodi had launched it long. Winder wins it back for the Galaxy. Now Fagundes running through the middle, out to Peck on the far side. Gabriel Peck, 1v1 here with Shaq Moore. Peck to his right foot, and Moore makes the block behind for a corner.
Well, you feel like we're in for a whole bunch of this now for the next 70 minutes.
Extra balls rolled out back onto the field as Gabriel Peck waits to take the corner kick. Peck with the end swinger towards the near post. Colodi with 2 hands to it, and it's behind for another opportunity. Same side for Gabriel Peck. Swinging service towards the near post again, and this time it's Ramiro who puts it behind for a 3rd straight corner.
It's the 5th red card this year for FC Dallas, so that's tied for 3rd in Major League Soccer.
This time the Galaxy goes short, back out to Fagundes, and now Cerrillo. Cerrillo wide for Fagundes, closed down quickly by Kaique. Yamane back to Cerrillo. This is the same play we saw moments ago from the short corner. This time they
made a mess of it again.
I thought they had the opening, and then they went back. Now Cerrillo centrally. Nice read there from Ramiro to step in front of the pass. Cuevas back onto the loose ball. Inside the 18, chipped ball in. Urguide heads clear. Now Kamungo will try and recover the second ball, but Garces able to win it back. There's a ball in behind looking for Peck. Deflected off of Winder, and Peter Musa is the one to make the interception. He launches it long, looking for Patrickson, the only man up the field for Dallas. John Nelson able to dribble clear and past him, past 2 Dallas players before running into Kaique. Now Musa splits the double team. Musa goes for goal from distance. Mitrovic alert to it. And that would have been some way to set a new record and give Dallas a lead on the road. He went for it from just about the halfway line.
I love the audacity. He didn't quite hit it with enough height. Otherwise, Mitrovic might have been in trouble.
At the very least, Mitrovic's going to step that line a couple steps back for the rest of the half. Gabriel Peck here inside the 18. Kaique knocks it off of him, out for a Dallas throw.
It's a really good entry ball there from Edwin Cerrillo. I think the entry ball he tried to hit a minute ago would have gone into Peck if Winder would have intercepted it accidentally.
Shackmore retrieves it for the throw in on the far side. 25 minutes in for just joining us. Logan Farrington sent off after a bit of a scuffle and what felt like a really harsh decision. Dallas now playing with 10 the rest of the way. In a win and you're in scenario, the ability to clinch a playoff spot with 3 points tonight.
You wonder if, Logan Farrington's reputation, short as it is, he's only been in the league less than 2 years, but, as a feisty, sort of combative player, if Marufo saw something, he thought he saw something maybe he didn't see there.
Well, you'd think that's why we have video assistant refereeing, but here's Peck inside the 18. Kappas defending from the wrong side, now gets back as Peck is forced back for Yoshida.
But that's the issue, isn't it? The whole system is designed around not relitigating the game, but just resolving and overturning clear and obvious errors. And
there's Yamane, cross blocked behind by Shackmore. Another corner on the way.
And even though it does look like that maybe was an error, was it clear and obvious as a high bar?
Well, and the only thing I can think of is that the referee thinks he's stamped deliberately on the player.
Yeah.
And if the video shows that he has not done that, as Yamane's into the box here and Pedermusa heads clear, then that's a clear and obvious error. If that was ultimately why the red card was given and it didn't happen.
As the usual defender of referees on this show, I really can't in this case. I think Marufo might look at that later and think that he owes Farrington one. That doesn't help Dallas tonight.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't owe Dallas one, as there's an entry ball for Winder along the right side. Abubakar defending. Here's a low ball sent in. Ramiro able to intercept inside the 18. And Kaike sends it clear. Unrelenting pressure right now from the reigning MLS Cup champions. Far from that in 2025. Looking to avoid finishing in the last place in the Western Conference. Peck through the lines looking for Nascimento. Colodi quickly off his line, able to cover it up.
Well, the last time this happened, it was against St. Louis, and it just turned into an absolute shooting gallery against Jacob Jackson, who came in to the match for Colodi, who had gotten that night's red card. It doesn't really look quite that way just yet, although LA has certainly, they're not really banging on the door. They're just sort of knocking around it right now.
Colodi, a booming punt down the field, nearly landed in the 18-yard box on the opposite side where Garces can retrieve it. I just wonder how quickly Eric Quill goes to the bench here as well, because I just don't think that Patrickson in this role is going to be able to give you much that Anderson Julio can't provide in terms of doing the defensive work, but also threatening on the counter. Maybe you try and get to the halftime break for that. There's a switching ball for the Galaxy out to Cuevas. Miscontrols it. Able to track it down near the corner flag. This cross blocked by Ramiro, then back off Cuevas and out for a Dallas throw.
Also, does Eric Quill start looking at the standings a little bit, wondering if a tie is enough? And maybe he decides we're going to bunker in here and try to get out of here with a point.
As it stands, Dallas defending with the back four. It started with the back five. We have Sebastian Ibiaga available defensively on the bench. Cerrillo to Nelson, wide now for Cuevas, corner of the 18. Right-footed service is caught by Colodi, who was interested in maybe starting a counterattack, but his teammates, I think, are happy to take the breather. Rolls it out to Ramiro. Kaike in the middle. Kaike into the feet of Musa on the halfway line. Musa, drop of the shoulder, puts it in behind for Delgado, and again, it's just not really his game. He's beaten to it there by Yoshida.
I mean, you nailed it there. If that's Anderson Julio, that's a good ball played down that right side channel by Pedermusa. If that's Anderson Julio, he's off to the races there. Delgado just didn't have a chance in the foot race.
I'll lift it out to Gabriel Peck on the far side. Chested down for Winder. Really good read there from Uriguide. Steps in the way. Now he's interested in leading the counterattack. Out wide for Kamungo. Urquide stepping into the number 9 role for the moment. Now Dallas will move it here from left to right. Urquide back into position. Abubakar out to Ramiro, closed down by Cuevas. Ramiro's going to lift this one ahead, looking for Musa. Garces climbing up on the back of Petar Musa, who's just as frustrated with the referee as the two of us here in the booth as he walks away from that collision. And now Cuevas, some space here on the near side, up against Ramiro. Cuevas, ball in behind for Fagundes to the byline on the left side. Chip ball is caught by Collodi.
You know, with Dallas in this 4-4-1, it's a really different sort of alignment. The angles change a lot from what they usually attack out of. Again, it's a sort of a 3-4-1-2 when they're with the ball, and it looks like right now they just really don't know where to be in that build-out at all.
Patrickson lifts it down the line for Kappas. Kappas looking for options, and yeah, Dallas are just a man light. Kappas thought he should have had a throw. Instead, it goes the Galaxy's way. Garces finds Yoshida, is going to bring it up the field here, out to fellow Japanese international Miki Yamane. Gabriel Peck on the halfway line. Cerrillo in the middle to Nascimento. John Nelson, pocket of space for him in midfield, gets it out wide for Cuevas. Patrickson defending, here's Fagundes now. Cerrillo. Over 10 more touches than anybody else on the field through these opening 32 minutes for Edwin Cerrillo.
He's absolutely been the pace setter in there.
Yamane, Cerrillo centrally, back to him. Now Yamane through the lines. Winder tripped up, not enough for a foul as Peck maintains possession.
Urquide kind of ragdolled him there.
Wide again with Yamane. We're standing a couple yards away. Here's Yoshida. Third year with the Galaxy for Maya Yoshida, wearing the captain's armband tonight. Peck's going to switch the play here through Garces, back towards the halfway line. Cerrillo through the lines, finds Peck, chipped in behind, looking for Nascimento, lunging Shackmore, sends it clear. Cerrillo lifting it out to Nelson. Looks like he's switched with Cuevas here, at least for the moment. Nelson playing higher up the field. Dallas defending with all 10. Yoshida out wide for Peck. Galaxy just staying patient here. There's Cerrillo through the lines looking for Peck. Shackmore got a touch to it, breaks back for Winder, shot blocked. And then Musa trying to retrieve the ball 30 yards from his own goal, finds Ramiro, and Ramiro sends it clear. And Kaike trying to catch it on the volley, and Spring Patrickson puts it out for a throw.
I mean, Ryan, is it patience, or is it just that the Galaxy just aren't really a good attacking team? And right now it looks like the most creative player out there is Edwin Cerrillo. And, you know, he's their number 6. Right now, you know, they've had over 64% possession, and yet they've only had. They might count that one a minute ago as a shot. If they don't, it's only 3 shots and only 1 on target. That's a little bit embarrassing when you're a man up at home in 35 minutes.
Well, long may it continue. Here's Gabriel Peck on the ball. Finds Cerrillo again in the middle. Space for Cerrillo. Switches the play through Cuevas. Now out wide for Nelson. Nelson, left-footed ball sent in towards the back post. Gabriel Peck with a lunging header off target. And the best opportunity of the game spurned there by their DP.
It was. It's a really good first-time cross hit by former FC Dallas man John Nelson. Peck just got the header all wrong at the back post at about 6 yards out.
And we could hear Greg Vanny making the adjustments through the crowd mic, switching Nelson to play higher up the field wide on the left, where he's on his stronger left foot. Cuevas, a right-footed player, was unable to put that sort of service into the box so far. Lodi launches the goal kick in towards Petar Musa. Header won by Yoshida. Musa goes down holding his head. And Dallas had won the second ball. But this time the referee does blow the whistle for the foul against Musa. A bit of a stray arm, forearm to the back of the head there. Probably worse than what Logan Farrington did in the 15th minute, but that's okay. There's Patrickson to take the free kick. Whipped in towards the back post. Abubakar wins the header, gets it on target. But a diving Mitrovic makes the save.
Now that's how Dallas can get a goal tonight. One of the ways, of course, off a set piece. The thing is, you gotta push the ball into the other end a little bit more. I think Abubakar might have been offside there, but still going to count as a shot and a shot on target.
Still scoreless here in the 37th minute. Galaxy in possession between the two center backs. Yoshida out wide for Yamane. 4 runners ahead of him. So he chips this one in behind, looking for Winder. Kappas defending. Winder, drop of the shoulder, opens up some space for himself. Peck unable to control it inside the box. Kaike makes the read. Dallas unable to maintain possession. Eventually, whistle goes for a handball in there, I think, against Yamane.
Right, and the other thing to comment on here about the 16th-minute red card for Logan Farrington, Dallas's chances are going to be limited now. Possession's going to be limited, chances are going to be limited, which means it's going to be a little bit tougher for Petar Musa to get that record-breaking goal. Sitting on 18, which of course matches season totals of Jason Christ, Kenny Cooper, and Jesus Ferreira.
Well, with Jesus, there was a little bit of a curse. Seemed like he couldn't hit the net once he hit 18. And with Musa, the form he's been in, I feel like if he had chances, he was going to hit the net no matter what. So now the soccer gods have made it just a little more difficult for him.
Not impossible, just more difficult.
He did score when Dallas was a man light in St. Louis in that 1-1 draw. Winder looking to return it to Gabriel Peck. Shackmore able to get his body in the way and send the clearance downfield, only as far as Yamane again. Cerrillo through the lines looking for Yamane. Peck there as well. Uriguide just shields it over the line as he does. Gabriel Peck, the one left, rolling in the grass.
Well, he took on 2 men there. It's 2 against 1. Yamane, I think, made a business decision and just sort of bailed out. And
the right call.
Yeah, it was the right call. Peck didn't, and he ended up on the ground for his efforts.
Quality. Going to launch the goal kick long here. Again, targeting Petar Musa. Resumes pleasantries with Yoshida. He won the first contact. Dallas, nobody there to profit as Yamane regains possession for the Galaxy. Cerrillo to Fagundes. Wide for Cuevas. Nelson makes the run beyond him. It's back for Fagundes. Fagundes really with a free roaming role here, particularly with the man advantage. Now popping up on the right side, looking for the through ball to Nascimento. Abubakar pushes him out towards the corner flag. Ball into the 18, looking for Winder. Abubakar got a touch again. Winder now 1-2 with Fagundes towards the byline. And Shackmore able to shield it just enough to get a goal kick off Diego Fagundes there.
Really good job there by Shaq Moore, doing his best to Asasi Urgide impersonation. Just using the muscle, getting that low center of gravity, holding off the player, just making sure it goes out nice and safe for a goal kick.
Colodi, I think, struggled in his return to the team last week to be accurate with the long ball, and tonight, and really dialed in, finding the head of Musa, finding the chest on this occasion. Now Kappas puts it over the top for Delgado. Followed away, and Ramiro shields it for a Dallas throw. I mean, he's putting these right on the money for Pedro Musa, giving Dallas some hope of an outlet ball. Ramiro takes the throw into Musa again, looking to turn Garces. Yoshida steps in the way. And now Dallas caught with some numbers up the field. Elijah Winder leads the break out to Gabriel Peck. Urgide defending in space. Peck puts it in behind for Winder into the 18. Low shot towards the near post is covered up there by Michael Colodi.
I thought Winder might have gotten in just a little bit early there, but never mind that. Colodi makes the save at the near post. I don't know, maybe timed to run pretty well. Either way, there's a little worm burner that Colodi covered up easily enough.
Colodi again direct to Musa, wins the flick on. Can't find Patrickson. Mitrovic sends it clear. Urgide maybe got lost in the lights, unable to control it. Now the ball in behind for Winder. Urgide defending from the wrong side. This one rolled past Colodi, and the Galaxy have the lead. Again, maybe a hint of offside. We'll have to check on the replay, but a rare mistake from Urgide, and Colodi unable to bail him out. And the task just got a whole lot harder now.
It started when Urgide, you're right, it was just, he tried to clear ball with his head. Just sort of missed it. Just went in a little early, and as he tried to recover, I think Winder is maybe half a step offside there, it looked to me like.
I think Abubakar has him onside.
Oh, on the backside, you're right, I just saw that.
Colodi got a touch to the shot, but it wasn't enough to keep it out.
Urgide tries to put a little bit of a body on Winder, and Winder does a good job of just being strong in the moment. And you're right, Colodi came so close to saving that one.
And straight from kickoff, Dallas has been a spring Perny Kamungo in behind. Not a bad attempt. Eventually rolls through for Mitrovic. So close to getting this to the halftime break. Still scoreless. Now the task just got a whole lot harder. Got to go in pursuit of an equalizing goal at the bare minimum. Yoshida's just going to walk this one up the field. Now springs Gabriel Peck out wide. Winder making that same run in behind. Peck cuts back this time. Now finds the feet of Elijah Winder. Second goal of the season for last year's Young Player of the Year in the USL Championship. Gabriel Peck hitting the switching ball out to Cuevas. Cuevas back for Cerrillo. Wide again for Nelson. Yoshida out wide for Yamane, closed down by Shaq Moore. Towards the byline for Winder, gets it back to Yamane. Yamane, top of the box, Cerrillo sets it back for Peck. Nice chopped pass back to Cerrillo, whips the ball towards the back post, John Nelson, and he hits the post with the shot. Goes out the other way for a Dallas throw. So close to two for the former Dallas man there.
I know Winder's got the goal, but the best player of the field right now for the Galaxy is Edmund Cerrillo. That is a really nice little chipped-in ball from the right side corner of the penalty area. Spots John Nelson open at the back post. Nelson takes the first time, side of the foot, lefty, across the face of goal and right off the post. Really nice feed from Cerrillo.
Played 45, waiting to see how much has been added on here in the first half as Ramiro rolls it down the line for Patrickson. Back to Ramiro. And Kaique. Dallas able to connect a few passes, first time in a while, as we head into 3 minutes of first half stoppage time. Wide again, this time with Patrickson. First time chipped ball, looking for the run of Kaique. Garces read it well.
See a switch now. Ramiro's gone into the midfield, into the central a minute ago. Now he's popped back out to the right, so we'll see how they reshape here.
Mitrovic under pressure from Kamungo. Out to Garces, down the line for John Nelson. And here's a ball given away. Kaique finds Petar Musa, top of the box. Musa shapes to shoot, and that one's deflected over the bar. As Dallas, even with 10 men, putting 4 men into the press there and winning it back. Musa a chance, now a corner on the way.
Yeah, it's Ramiro that sort of snuck in there and created the interception and then immediately fed Petar Musa.
So a goal here on the stroke of halftime could really change things back in Dallas's favor. Patrickson's lining up the corner kick. Halfway through 3 minutes added on. 2 arms raised. Patrickson whips it in, not enough on it, as that one's easily headed clear at the near post. Back with Shackmore in the center circle. Gets it wide for Ramiro. Ramiro lifts it ahead, looking for the run of Urquide. Urquide, 2 defenders around him, able to win possession back high up the field. Now Patrickson tripped up by Garces, too aggressive there. And now another attacking set piece coming, and hopefully Patrickson can learn from the last one, put a little more underneath this one.
But look, since the goal, I mean, Dallas is getting to the attack. They're getting players forward, and just sort of makes you wonder about why they went so defensive there after the 16th minute red card.
Mitrovic setting up the wall here for the Galaxy. This is a wide free kick from the near side. Musa Urquide waited at the back post. Delgado ready to whip this one in. Galaxy set the line at the penalty spot. Patrickson into the danger area. A couple bodies hit the deck on either side as it's volleyed clear. Ramiro out wide for Patrickson. Ramiro unable to receive that one, and Pex won it back in the middle of the field. But there won't be time for any further action. Played 3 minutes added on, and the Galaxy will take a first half lead courtesy of Elijah Winder after the Logan Farrington 16th minute red card. It's going to be the central point of our discussions at halftime, but ultimately Dallas have to find a way back into this game to punch that ticket to the playoffs. We'll talk about it on the other side of this break as we head into the halftime interval. It's the LA Galaxy 1, FC Dallas 0. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer here, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern. The future of medicine sparks here.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Petar Musa and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
After 45 plus in LA, it's the Galaxy 1, Dallas 0, and Dallas is down a man after a controversial 16th minute red card. Hello everybody, it is the FC Dallas halftime show brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you by AdvoCare, building champions together. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in a moment by the voices of tonight's contest to try and figure it to Steve Davis. No highlights tonight as FC Dallas loses Logan Farrington in the 16th minute. A red card's given to Dallas' striker. That puts Dallas down a man. And then 3 minutes before the halftime whistle, it's Elijah Winder scorching one past Michael Collodi. It looked like he might have been offside, but further replay showed not the case. So the Galaxy are up 1-0 at the halftime break. Let's bring you tonight's halftime stats. Those are brought to you by UMB Bank. Possession battle goes the way of the Galaxy, 65-35. 7 shots, 3 on target for the home side. 5 shots, 2 on target for the road team. There's 5 corners to 1, the tally for the Galaxy. You've got 2 saves apiece for Novak Micevic and Michael Collodi. 5 fouls for the Galaxy, yet despite that, no yellow or red cards. 2 fouls for Dallas. 1 yellow card, that goes to Ramiro. He will also miss out on next week on yellow card suspension. And 1 straight red to the aforementioned Logan Farrington. As we bring in the voices of tonight's contest to try and figure it, it's Steve Davis. And, we can talk about the validity of the red card or not. I feel like that's just, ground that's unfortunate. The reality is Dallas is down a man in a game that they need to win 1-0. And, oh, by the way, they're down a goal as well. Short of more goals being scored, Ryan, this feels like what could go wrong has gone wrong for Dallas.
Yeah, we just watched the incident that led to the red card as well, and for me, it's more unbelievable every time you watch it that there was not at least an on-field review recommended to the referee, and the game is going to hinge on that. This is the 3rd time that Dallas has had a first-half red card this season. They were able to get a draw on each of the 2 previous occasions. A draw is not enough to clinch the playoffs tonight, but it would leave you in a lot better position, especially because it looks like Real Salt Lake is going to lose tonight to Seattle as they just had a goal called off in the 90th minute. Thankfully, as Dallas finally gets something to go their way on the night. So as it stands, even with the loss, Dallas would head into decision day in 8th place, but going to Vancouver, needing a result, it's not a place you want to be. And this second half here is going to be crucial. Even getting a point could be big now considering the situation.
And, Steve, one of the things that was a challenge for Dallas after the red card was they've got a style of direct play they're very comfortable with. But without Logan, as they reshaped into what looked like a 4-4-1, we saw more trying to do a build out of the back, that more patient passing style. That's something Eric Quill said last week. Look, we just don't do it, and we're not going to really improve on it because it's just not something we do. As they go into the second half here down a player, is there a way for them to return back to that style they're more comfortable with? And if so, how do they do it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it might take a personnel change. It's exactly what Ryan said a while ago, that I'm not sure the way this game is going to play now. I don't know that Delgado is going to give them what they need, and I think Anderson Julio might be better in that role because we saw a couple of times where Delgado missed out on foot races that I think Anderson Julio is going to win. So if you're going to play a little bit more in transition, try to get the balls, the early outlets into Musa, who's done really well, by the way. He's won 6 of 9 of his air duels, 1 of 1 on the ground duels, so he's won more duels than anybody else on the field tonight. And he can't do that. Hold off a player, wait for a little bit of support, and then spring to pass. But if he's springing passes into space and Delgado can't catch up with it, maybe Bernie Kamungo on the other side can, but Anderson Julio is the fastest player on the team, or maybe this out of Uriguide. So I think it's going to take a personnel change more than a tactical change.
And something you mentioned, Ryan, if they're going to get back into it with direct play, one big asset Dallas has on its side, Michael Collodi looks like he's back to his Collodi form tonight. He has pinged some really nice deep balls, specifically to Musa. What has happened after that hasn't been totally effective, but he's doing his part tonight.
Yeah, 7 out of 11 on long balls is a really good percentage for him in the first half. We know that's his, one of his biggest strengths as a goalkeeper is the ball at his feet and his ability to ping it, whether he's playing short out of the back or playing long. So it's good to see him get back on form with that after a more difficult week last week against the Galaxy at home. And Musa winning the flick-ons, we just need someone to make the run in behind. And, being down to 10 men, it's going to be difficult to expend that energy every time. But more often than what we saw, after the red card, we need somebody making that run in behind to profit off of some really good work from both Colodi and Musa.
And it's unfortunate, Steve, the roster situation as it is for Dallas, because Nolan Norris is not available. He's with the U20 national team, as is Diego Garcia is with the U.S. national team. No Dietzen either. He is with the Haitian national team. Congrats to him scoring a goal the other night for Haiti. But it's a bit of a short bench attacking-wise for Eric Quill. Obviously, the aforementioned Anderson Julio. You've got Pedrinho. You've got Sam Sarver and Asali as the attacking options. It's not exactly the group you'd pick on the FC Dallas roster if you had your druthers, I think.
No, but maybe a Sam Sarver can come in and give you give you that lift that you need emotionally, and he's got the energy, he's got the fight, he's got the spirit, and maybe that's what this game is gonna come down to, a little bit of personality, because we did see them again. You guys just said it. They managed the draw against St. Louis, and it's sort of a similar situation on the road like this. So. I think maybe that could be the spark that they might need. Right now, Bertie Kamungo hasn't really been able to get into the attack. He was doing pretty well, I thought, before the 16th minute red card, but he hasn't really had much to say about the game since then, so maybe that's the spark.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different ways you could go about it, depending on, as the game wears on, and the more desperate that you get, you can move Kamungo back into the traditional left back, slide Shaq Moore back to right back if you're worried about Ramiro, or if you want to put Ramiro back into the middle. Sarver can give you an option on either wing, and if you had both Sarver and Julio on the wings, with Musa winning the balls to try and flick it on, that's a lot of speed that they didn't have in the first half. That could give him an entirely different look in the second half. Maybe the Galaxy wouldn't expect or respect after what Dallas showed after the red card.
It kind of feels like Chaos Ball might be the order of the day, considering that you may not
we've
have
got
any
the Chaos King on the bench if that's if that is in fact the case.
And for those who aren't in the loop on MLS Next Pro, he's coming off a hat trick that secured North Texas a playoff spot.
And last time he had a hat trick, he came back and won the penalty for FC Dallas. The next day. So when he's in good form, he's definitely an option. I think Julio's going to be your first name off the bench most likely, especially having gotten on the score sheet recently in MLS. But I think Sarver might have a role to play down the stretch.
I'm curious, Ryan, what you think about, obviously, Ramiro can play the rest of this one, but he will not play next week against Vancouver because of the yellow card suspension after he picked up one in the 21st minute. Do you think that changes how Quill wants to run his rotation, because he now knows, okay, no matter what happens tonight, I don't have Ramiro, so do I get a full 90 out of him, or do I try and just game the system and get the best players I need for the situation?
I'm a little worried in terms of picking up a second yellow card and then ruining this game completely, having to play down to 9 men. So I think you maybe come out for the second half, see how the Galaxy set up. They were mostly attacking with Gabriel Peck on the opposite side, so maybe you aren't as worried about Ramiro being put in those 1v1 situations, but that's definitely a concern. Maybe if you shift him into the middle of the field, get him in a more natural position that he doesn't feel like he has to make those type of fouls. This is a player that Eric Quill really trusts. I don't think he wants to take him off the field in such a difficult and important situation, but you do have to manage that yellow card for sure.
Well, the other thing to consider there is he was on a minutes restriction last week. He might be again today, and even if he's not playing this next game, you don't want to push it too far and re-injure him, because you need him in case you do make the playoffs.
And, obviously there's not a lot of positive coming out of that first half when you give up the lead and go down a man. But, Steve, I think it's worth highlighting that the two guys that have been very consistent for this club over the last, undefeated streak, Osazi Urguide, who does make one mistake, but he still is playing up to his game, and Christian Kappas is once again becoming the metronome in there, just kind of holding serve. Just, he's not always pretty. It's not always, the focal point, but he keeps the thing going, and Dallas might need that the next half.
Yeah, the thing I would say about that is what Kappas gives you is nice, safe, tidy possession. Dallas just doesn't have a lot of the ball right now. Edwin Cerrillo has touched the ball 64 times. Kappas has touched the ball 23. So that's not Kappas' fault necessarily. It's just that Dallas just doesn't have the ball. So while you're correct, it's tough for him to have a big impact when he's just not seeing the ball very much.
Yeah, it's kind of an awkward situation where he's doing exactly what he's supposed to. It's just kind of out of place due to game situation more than anything else. Well, Dallas down 1-0 at the halftime. They're also down a man. They'll have to play the rest of the second half that way. They're looking for, at this point now, 2 goals to get to the playoff line to guarantee themselves that spot. A draw keeps them in it, but does not guarantee anything. And, of course, we are still on Musa watch as he is looking for goal number 19, although that task, like every other task tonight for FC Dallas, has gotten just a wee bit harder. That's going to do it for the halftime show. When we return, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for the second half. It's LA Galaxy 1, FC Dallas 0 after one half of action. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar at the World of WinStar.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Hi everyone, it's Paxton Palmacall, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Welcome back for the second half. Dallas at Dignity Health Sports Park. Down a man, down a goal heading into the second 45 minutes. 3 points tonight will clinch a playoff spot, but Steve, after the events of the first half, well, that mountain just got a little bit steeper to climb as we see a couple of changes. We'll talk about that in just a moment.
No, I think you should go ahead and talk about that
well,
change.
We called for both of them. It's
Yep.
Sam Sarver and Anderson Julio off the bench. We'll see who's been replaced as Dallas comes out for this second half with now a whole lot more speed in the wide areas. And we talked about it at halftime, but Steve, that really changes how Dallas can play on the counterattack.
No, it absolutely does because we sort of outlined it. When you've got Peter Moose up there winning those duels, and then the flick-ons or the turns and the feeds, you need somebody that can run onto those, and Anderson Julio is that guy.
Anderson Julio, Sam Sarver. We still see Bernard Kamungo. Still looking to see who's been replaced. First action for Sam Sarver in a while in Major League Soccer. He's coming off a hat trick on decision day for North Texas SC, where he's certainly been the player of the season for them. Looks like Kaique has been withdrawn, as well as Patrickson. So Ramiro will be with Kappas in the middle of the field, 4-4-1. Looks like it'll continue here in the second half, but with a whole lot more pace in the wide areas for FC Dallas as we are back underway in second half action in Carson, California.
Yeah, Sarver's going to play on the right, Anderson Julio on the left.
Immediately, the Galaxy just maintain possession with the lead. They will keep the patient approach that we saw throughout the first half, you'd imagine. Here's a switching ball out to Cuevas. Shaq Moore now playing right back with Bernard Kamungo at left back. Here's Sarver's first touch. Gets it back for Shaq Moore. Now down the line for Sarver to chase. Sarver at full pelt up against Garces, who may be one of the only players on the field that can match him in a dead sprint. Garces clocked at the fastest speed in Major League Soccer each of the last 2 seasons. We got some sprinters out on the field on both sides tonight. And that's with Paintsville not even involved. Probably the fastest of the bunch. Peck looking for the switching ball. Sarver able to intercept, but then Cuevas immediately back in to win possession for the Galaxy. Galaxy throw. Taken backwards back to John Nelson. Rang the post. Could have been 2 for the Galaxy right before halftime. It's Elijah Winder with the goal. Gabriel Peck receives on the near side. Immediately puts the bending ball in behind. Comfortable for Michael Collodi to catch.
You know, when Sam and I talked about players that had done well in the first half, I should have mentioned we should have put Michael Collodi in that group too, because I don't think he's done anything wrong tonight.
Petter Musa in the middle of the field, pivoting, finding Kappas, who's tripped up as he releases it. Referee plays advantage here. Bernard Kamungo in a central area. Bernard Kamungo out to Anderson Julio inside the 18. Julio on the right foot. Blazes that one over the bar. His first involvement 2 minutes into this appearance off the bench.
Yeah, most interesting, that sequence is seeing that Bernard Kamungo is playing as a left back now, and he pops up in the middle of the field. Does a good job of drawing in a couple of defenders and then sliding that ball out to the left to Anderson Julio. Julio working the ball over to his right foot, and then, as you said, just didn't hit the shot that he wanted.
Yoshida rolls it over to Yamane. Galaxy back in possession. Wide for Cuevas. Looks like he's playing left wing again after switching with John Nelson in that first half.
Yeah, protecting a lead. They want Nelson in the more defensive role. Mentioned a while ago that the LA Galaxy have talked about trying to avoid last place in the West, and this result, if it holds, would draw them level with Sporting Kansas City for last place.
Well, they finished as the only team in Major League Soccer without a road win. They haven't exactly been dazzling at home either. We'll get to that in just a second. Here's Gabriel Peck along the right side into Winder, whose cross is blocked. And last touch came off of Elijah Winder, so it'll be a goal kick. 5 wins, 2 draws, 8 losses at Dignity Health Sports Park this year. Not going to get a better opportunity than tonight, up a man for 70 minutes. Sarver holding off John Nelson and winning a foul in the Dallas half.
Well, with Jair Marufo's help, the Galaxy eliminated Dallas's usual chaos creator, Logan Farrington, but they didn't eliminate all of Dallas's chaos creators, because there's Sam Sarver.
However, Logan Farrington is watching this, probably still cooling off and very angry about the situation. He would appreciate that from Sarver. Here's a bad ball from Kappas, a rare mistake from him. Now a chance for the Galaxy, and a numbers up break. Gabriel Peck, top of the box, left-footed curling shot is wide and high, as Michael Collodi was not called into action there by Gabriel Peck.
And immediately Kappas puts up his hand. He knows he made a mistake there, and you're right, it wasn't a well-hit ball, and it's just not a ball you usually see from Chris Kappas.
He had Sarver in some space too. Fortunate the Galaxy were unable to do anything with that break. They had 6 on 4. Played 5 minutes here in the second half as Collodi launches this one long towards Musa. Kappas flicks on the header. Cannons off of Musa. And last touch is going to be for a Dallas throw, but Kappas keeps it alive, finds Musa. Here's a ball in behind. Both Sarver and Julio looking to make a dart for it. Garces again with that speed, able to cover it up. And now the pressure higher up the field. Ramiro leading it. Forces the Galaxy out the other side.
The Galaxy have not been a good defensive unit this year, but Garces has done a lot of that, where he cleans up messes with his really good recovery speed.
There's a ball in behind for Gabriel Peck, and this one overhit. Dallas with a couple players getting in the way there before Collodi picks it up. Quickly rolled out to Anderson Julio. Julio down the line for Musa. And Mane on his back. Musa frees himself up. Now he's got his head up. It's the switching ball out towards Shaq Moore. Shaq Moore wins the header in behind for Sam Sarver. Julio waits in the middle. Early ball in. Anderson Julio from the penalty spot equalizes the game. Set up by Sarver. Julio finds the leveler. And 6 minutes into the second half, the changes pay off for Eric Quill.
Well, how about that? Both of the subs. But you know what? That is Petter Musa receiving a ball along the touchline on the left side, well into his own end, and holding off enough defenders. before he can hit that ball out on the right. And there's going to be a little bit of a look here to see if Sarver had gotten in a little bit early off the Shaq Moore header.
Well, if there's any cosmic justice floating around in the Galaxy Stadium tonight, VAR will not take a look at this one. It's their job to.
Well, they'll take a look. Now, you know,
maybe the
angle we
angles,
had wasn't the best. And I'm not sure they're going to have a great angle either. And here again, we talk about how they would have to show a clear and obvious error because the flag did stay down.
They're still waiting to resume play here, so
There are some cuts to the grass that are going to help out, but goal is given.
Goal is given. Sarver picks up his first MLS assist. Anderson Julio again back in the goals, 2 now in his last 3. And 7 minutes after Eric Quill made the double change at halftime, those two connect to give Dallas some life.
I tell you what, that is some ridiculous defending from the Galaxy, but you still got to make them pay for it. And it was the great switching ball there from Peter Musa, and then Sarver doing the right thing once he gets the ball off the Shaq Moore header, just serving that early, and really easy setup there provided to Anderson Julio.
Oh, Peter Musa, that's so good there, holding off Garces all the way. And then Garces looked like he committed a foul. Both players ended up on the ground, but it's the Galaxy who come away with possession. Kappas now the latest to fly into a tackle unsuccessfully. Here's a switching ball from Nelson, looking to get Peck in behind. Kamungo with good positioning and control the situation, sends it down the field out for a throw.
That almost looks more like Kappas went over there with the intent of fouling, and then either didn't do it or maybe Rufo just played the advantage. But that looked like the old if you're not gonna call fouls, then we're gonna go foul the other guys.
I'll say the bar for foul has been widely varying depending on the play tonight. There's one through the lines for Cuevas. Cuevas looking to get in behind for Nascimento, intercepted by Abubakar. And Sarver will send it down the field. Just a moment of rest. Galaxy will come back through Fagundes.
I mean, Sam Sarver's just a guy that just finds a way to make an impact.
Kamungo leaves one in there on Gabriel Peck. Referee plays on. Now out to the other side for John Nelson. Ball in behind. Cuevas to the byline. Sarver defending. Sarver sliding. Blocks the cross, and it breaks for Shaq Moore. Moore sends it down the field. Musa holding off Garces. Gets it back for Shaq Moore just to maintain possession. Dallas dealing with a lot of pressure here from the Galaxy. Kappas is giving it away. Fagundes along the left side, forward to his right. Here's Elijah Winder again. And that one all wrong from the young midfielder. Goes out for a throw-in on the near side.
With fouls that aren't being called really on both sides, to be honest. And the pressure from the Galaxy, the game has gotten very chaotic very quickly here. And that was not a good shot from young Winder.
Where was that in the first half? He was through on goal. Made it count. Kamungo takes the throw, and Uragide sends it down the field. Not much behind the clearance, though, and Cerrillo gets possession back for LA. I don't think this game's going to end 1-1 if I had to bet, which I'm not allowed to do.
I think you're right.
Here's Yamane, ball into the penalty area. Nascimento holding off Abubakar, and Uragide came to help out. Dallas win it back. Now Musa with Yoshida all over his back, and now Uragide wins the foul from Nascimento. Anyone like watching monster trucks? Roller derby, and that's what we're seeing right now. Pure collision chaos. As we get a look at a really nice goal, the equalizer from Julio. They give assists for the 4th pass leading to a goal, because that ball from Musa was worth one.
I did just check to make sure they did give Shaq Moore an assist as well.
And Sarver, really good ball. Put it on a plate for Anderson Julio. Here's Dallas winning it up higher up the field again. Sarver wide right, puts it in behind for Musa to the byline. Musa going to get his hips around it, unable to keep it in play. It'll be a goal kick.
See, fourth assist this year for Shaq Moore to go along with 3 goals. Those are good totals for a right back.
For a center back of late.
Good point.
Those goal contributions coming from the traditional right back role. There's Kamungo playing as a traditional left back in the formation right now. Gets it back to Kolodi. This time Kolodi can't find a teammate in the black jersey. Now Winder back for Yamane. Peck receives it here in the right half space, gets it wide for Yamane. Back to Cerrillo. So just keeping the ball moving here. Fagundes was on the score sheet last week in Frisco. He's been on the score sheet in 3 straight games. Peck finds Cerrillo. Here's Fagundes again centrally. Gabriel Peck in between the lines. Quick pirouette. Finds Fagundes again. Fagundes into the feet of Winder. Winder finds Nascimento inside the box. Kamungo defending. Here's Gabriel Peck. Chops onto his right foot. Urquide sliding tackle. 4 or 5 bodies on the ground. Eventually the referee's whistle brings it into the attack. It'll be a goal kick.
Urquide just flying into the rescue there. Gabriel Peck with some fancy footwork to put himself in a good position, although at a bad angle. He's getting by Abubakar, and Urquide just came stampeding into the rescue. Now, one thing, Ryan, it's a nice cool night there. Temperatures in the 60s. If Dallas had needed to play with man down last week with literally temperatures in the 90s in the sun, it would have been a different situation. So you can at least work a little harder as a man down.
Saying he wouldn't want to have 70 minutes down a man at 3:30 Frisco, Texas.
In the blazing sun.
Anderson Julio, some good work to win a free kick just in front of the Dallas technical area, where Michel is now up on his feet setting up this free kick opportunity. Christian Kappas stands over it. I'll send the center backs forward. Kappas under hit that one just a little bit, and it's headed clear. Sarver and Cuevas fight for the loose ball. Sarver comes away with it. Abubakar, first time ball into the feet of Musa. 1-2 here for Julio. Sliding tackle from Yamane is a good one. Dallas nearly opportunistic there amongst the chaos. And Urquide just takes a foul in the middle of the field as he was out of position.
Urquide just grabbing Nascimento. I'm a little surprised that he didn't see a yellow there. Somebody just did. I think it was Lalas Abubakar for walking away with the ball. It's not really a smart yellow card either.
Yeah, I think the referee was going to give him the benefit of the doubt and then a couple extra steps with the ball, and that was past the threshold of leniency.
And the reason I say it's not smart, I mean, it's just needless. Now Abubakar has to be extra careful. And of course, if he saw red, it would be his second one this year. And there, as a center back playing a man down, there might be a moment when
you got to take one.
You feel like you need to take a yellow card.
Well, Urquide just tried to use his moment.
Yep.
Fortunately, he wasn't the one to pick up the yellow.
And I saw it last night in the U.S. game. Chris Richards, there was a moment playing center back, the former FC Dallas Academy product. He knew he needed to take a yellow card. He took it, raised his hand, said, okay, that's fine.
Gabriel Peck along the right side. Kamungo does really well just to win it back and then win the foul. And now Peck will find his name in the referee's book for a little swipe at the heels of Bernard Kamungo.
Yeah, he was a little frustrated there. It's a good tackle from Bernie. And as Bernie's about to get away, Peck just kicks him in the ankle.
Still crazy to me that we're watching Bernard Kamungo not just, find a way onto the field playing left back, but really take it on and excel in the position. I mean, he's gotten some tough matchups over this stretch of games against some elite MLS talent. And he's done really well. Here's Garces caught in a bad way by Sarver on the top of the box, but able to shield it away from him just in time and send it clear. And a good attempt from Cuevas. Thought he was going to be able to spin over Guide, but he couldn't quite keep it within the boundary. Garces, who's prone to a mistake like that, not quite dispossessed as he invited the pressure inside his own 18-yard box.
Yeah, he almost got Sam Sarvered.
Moore takes the throw and gets it back right away from Ramiro. Boubacar launches it long towards Musa, holding off Garces, just bounces through for Yoshida. Cerrillo brings it forward out to Yamane. Ball in behind for Nascimento. Bernard Kamungo turns on the Jets to get there first. And it's actually Winder who eventually loses out and stumbles over the line. It'll be a Dallas throw. Kappas for the volley up the field, looking for Sarver. Sarver onto a loose touch here. Sarver using his speed to get in behind. Garces, though, as we mentioned, quick as well. Able to do just enough. I mean, that's a moment where Sam Sarver, playing for North Texas SC, is absolutely in one-on-one with a huge chance at the go-ahead goal, but Garces with enough athleticism to match him there.
I mean, I think even at MLS level, Sarver is not going to have the experience and sometimes the technical quality to get past some of those guys, but in a foot race, he's going to beat him, and in that case, it just happens to be with one of the faster center backs. Because he had a step on him.
He certainly had the full head of steam, head start. There's Gabriel Peck once again from the near side. Here's Winder, goal scorer in the first half, Yoshida. Back over to Winder. 65th minute, penultimate regular season game for FC Dallas. Most of the league will just be watching on here, with one game to go in their slate. John Nelson whips this cross in. Nascimento makes the first contact. Fagundes trying to bring it down inside the 18. Abubakar on his back. Fagundes, bicycle kick cross into the middle. And Anderson Julio gets the header away only as far as Yamane, whose touch was heavy, and Shaq Moore sends it clear. That was inventive from Diego Fagundes. Musa easily intercepting a pass there from Cerrillo. And now Musa holding off three players and dribbling towards some open space in the right back area, launching it long for Sarver, but it skews out of play.
Yeah, Musa did so much good work there to hold off about 17 different Galaxy players, it looked like, and then as he hit the outlet, he just didn't get the accuracy on it, hit it out of bounds.
Some of those same old mistakes for the Galaxy creeping in the second half. There will be opportunities for Dallas to pounce and try and punch that ticket to the playoffs.
Galaxy looking pretty narrow right now, and then they just play the ball out of bounds. But Dallas doing the right thing and just being very compact through the middle.
Frustrated Greg Vanney watches on, his 5th season with the Galaxy. Wasn't exactly a sparkling tenure outside of last year's run to MLS Cup and lifting their 6th trophy in club history. And that tends to buy you some time. You got the contract extension this season, even amongst a historically bad start to the year. Here's Julio on a loose back pass. Anderson Julio with the speed to get there. Mitrovic flying out off his line, got there just in time. Julio making contact with the Galaxy goalkeeper, who stayed down here. It was Elijah Winder with the loose pass, and if they didn't water the field at halftime, Anderson Julio's tapping that into an empty net. Had just enough pace to get to the goalkeeper.
And then on the follow through, Julio just sort of cleans him out.
Yeah, nothing really in terms of malice there. He's just not going to be able to slow down from a full sprint.
Yeah.
I don't think the referee even actually called a foul on it. Just stopped because the goalkeeper was the one down. Still, those chances on the mistakes from the Galaxy, on the counterattacks for Dallas, and the speed of Julio and Sarver. We called for it at halftime. Eric Quill thinking along the same lines. So far, so good for those two.
Yeah, it put Dallas on the front foot for about maybe 10 minutes. After that, the Galaxy sort of reestablished control.
Yamane to Cerrillo in a central position. Over to Cuevas, wide for Nelson. Corner of the 18. Nelson right-footed cross. Header won there by Anderson Julio. Yamane looking for the 1-2. Yamane into the 18 along the right side. His cross blocked by Uriguide. Out for a corner.
That was a pretty slick little 1-2 right at the top of the penalty area. I thought Yamane probably could have uncorked a shot earlier. Instead, he took the additional touch, and then sort of Christian Kappas guided him over toward the end line really well.
Short corner for the Galaxy. Haven't managed to make one of these work yet so far. This one may be the best effort yet. Cerrillo over to Nelson, who has a shot from distance. Well, 4 attempts at the short corner and 1 shot from 30 yards for your left back.
I mean, maybe they just don't have anybody that can hit a good corner. I don't know. They keep doing that. They're going to that well every time, and good for them, I guess, because it's serving Dallas well.
First change coming for Greg Vanny. Miguel Berry in to replace Mickey Yamane. That's a very attack-minded change, a center forward for a right back. Berry replaced Nascimento last week in Frisco. It looks like those two will play up front together now.
We'll see who goes over there and plays right back for them. I guess maybe it's Cuevas.
There's a in-swinging ball towards the back post. Uriguide, and a huge intervention there. Puts it behind for a corner, but it looked like Yoshida was going to have a tap-in header.
Yeah, he had a beat on it at that back post. And he knows it too.
Gabriel Peck now lines up another corner. Now an extra target to aim at, and Miguel Berry standing at 6'3". Peck in towards the near post. Collodi two-hand punch away and behind for another corner.
Well, look at that. They do have somebody that can hit a corner kick.
He's had a few chances at it tonight. Now 8 for Gabriel Peck, lining up the second opportunity. And again towards the near post. Collodi with a big left hand. Punches it outside the 18, back to Peck on the near side. Ball towards the back post. Collodi not sure where it was, but made a huge save with the right foot as Yoshida nodded that one back into the danger area. Unconventional from the homegrown goalkeeper, but enough. Bend, don't break.
Yeah, Yoshida didn't have much of an angle at the back post, but wouldn't have taken much to slip it in there.
This time Fagundes from the opposite side towards the back post, over everybody's head, and out for a goal kick. Yoshida and Uriguide in Some Royal Rumble wrestling match at the back post there.
And Yoshida making a big sprint to the referee, to Marufo, to make the point.
I'll tell you what, Collodi with the jumping starfish, closed the legs just in time save, kept that one from a Nascimento tap in. He launches it long. Julio's going to put Cuevas under pressure here. He's back at his natural right back spot.
So as we get into the 7th minute here, you start asking the question, is this a game where Paxton Pomykal can come in and have some kind of impact?
If it was fully fit, game sharp Paxton Pomykal, we know the answer would be absolutely yes. The question is, where is he in that return to play journey?
Yeah, and where does he really fit in this match as Dallas is playing a man down?
Winder gets it out to John Nelson. Sarver defending. Fagundes, corner of the 18 extended. Ball swung in. Boubacar heads it clear. Dallas clearance is just landing at the feet of the Galaxy back line. It's been that way for the most part since scoring the equalizing goal. Here's one for John Nelson. Sarver defending towards the byline. He cuts back, finds Fagundes again. Into the 18, Nascimento sets it back. John Nelson wasn't quite sure what to do with it. Kappas sends it down the field. Wide for Cuevas. He's given some time here to whip this cross in, but it's too close to Collodi. Makes a diving catch.
I mean, Collodi's so brave and so aggressive on those. It's a pretty good ball. Comes in at a good pace, right about the 6, and Collodi just goes out there and eats it up.
More down the line. Sarver holding off his man. Sets it back for Ramiro. Can't find a teammate. It's turned over to Fagundes. There's Elijah Winder, full sprint through the middle of the field. Nascimento looking for a lane to shoot, and the follow-up from Peck is over the bar.
He did the right thing and nudging the ball over to Peck, who opened up his hips. And you know, you think maybe last year's Peck puts that one in the back of the net. He's right inside the D at about 20 yards, and he just hits it, just blazes it high.
Well, get ready, North Texas. The world's biggest tournament is coming, and FC Dallas is bringing it home with the Club and Country package. For just $35, you can score a custom scarf repping FC Dallas and your favorite World Cup national team, have VIP access to the World Cup draw party, and much more. Don't miss out. Visit fcdallas.com/club and country today. "15 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Dallas holding on to a point. A good point, all things considered. Galaxy with other ideas. Here's Fagundes. Space at the top of the box, finds Peck. Sliding tackle there from Uragide. Gets it away from Peck, only as far as Winder. Cuevas, wide on the right, goes down. And is waved up by the referee, I think rightfully so. It'll be a Dallas goal kick.
You know, Ryan, Sam Sarver's definitely made a mark on this match, assisting on the Anderson Julio goal in the 52nd minute, but he's not really giving him much in possession right now.
Don't miss the FC Dallas Rewind on KDFI More 27 every Tuesday night during the regular season at 7 p.m. You can watch the most recent FC Dallas match for free on KDFI More 27, available over the air everywhere in the DFW market.
With this man advantage, Galaxy edge in possession is up to 68% now.
Bouncing ball controlled by Barry, looking for Peck in the middle of the field. He's unable to control it. Shaq Moore back on the ball for Dallas. Quickly switching it over to the near side for Bernie Kamungo. Ran out of ideas, ran out of options, but managed to get a throw.
I think the most helpful man in possession for FC Dallas in the second half has been Peter Musa.
Kamungo looking to go down the line. Julio was in an offside position, so he'll leave it. Musa certainly doing the work for the team, a little bit deeper in possession. a couple of half chances to try and extend his scoring streak and break that single season goal record, but most of his work coming in the middle of the field tonight after the Farrington red card. At the feet of Nascimento, top of the box. Uriguide just outduels him there and now puts it in behind for Sarver to chase. Great ball. Here's Sam Sarver. Garces on the retreat. Sam Sarver shoved down, and the referee says not enough. And again, the recovery speed of Amiro Garces on full display.
Marufo indicating that Garces had gotten the ball there. We'll have to take a look.
Cuevas on the other end, got that cross wrong, too much air underneath it. Shackmore wins the header at the back post and puts it out for a Galaxy throw. Referee allows him to take it quickly, so confident enough in his own decision. Well, we know he is. How the game has gone tonight. Not to have another look at that one. It's Sarver, who's pretty quick, it's safe to say. Had that 2-yard head start quickly erased by Amiro Garces. Good work from Uriguide to spring him in behind.
Just got a quick look at the replay, and Garces may indeed have gotten the ball as he sort of bundled into Sarver from behind.
I mean, if he didn't, he would be headed to
that's the thing.
Locker room early as well.
I think it was just enough. Oh boy, and there's Musa out for the next game, so he won't get the record. He just got a yellow card.
Now both Ramiro and Musa will miss with the yellow card accumulation on decision day. Farrington will be out. The red card from tonight. And that means these next
Sam
12,
Sarver at striker?
Sarver and Julio. I mean, Eric Quill.
He's got the I'm getting a headache hand gesture there. Frustration there, I think, on Musa's part, as he just bundled into Cerrillo from behind. Gave him a little what for.
There's the ball from the free kick, sent in towards the back post. Appeals for a handball against the Galaxy are given, or maybe offside, either way. Here's another look at the Sarver chance. Had the big head start against Garces, had to slow down for the ball, and then Garces got back in time.
You know what? Garces did get the ball there.
Yeah, really good work. Does that increase the need to try and win the game today now with Musa out, Ramiro and Farrington out on decision day? Do you maybe make one more roll of the dice in an attacking change? A Pedrinho or a Paxton Pomykal maybe. Shackmore wins a header, middle of the field. Yoshida allows it to bounce with Julio in the area. Gets it back to Mitrovic. Julio, dead sprint to get back into formation here. No matter the result tonight, Dallas absolutely leaving everything on the field at Dignity Health Sports Park. And Julio, overzealous on this occasion, trips up his man. Free kick coming, won by Cuevas, wide on the right side for the Galaxy.
I mean, Real Salt Lake unable to come up with the point tonight in Seattle, losing their 1-0. That helps Dallas.
And Dallas, if they don't win today, that brings Colorado back into the equation. It would be Dallas, Salt Lake, and Colorado vying for these final 3 playoff positions. Dallas would be on 42 as things stand, with Salt Lake and Colorado both on 40. Gabriel Peck lines up this free kick. 2 players in the wall for Michael Collodi. Peck shot on target, punched away by Collodi. He tried to catch the keeper unaware there. Now Sarver sends it down the line. Bernie Kamungo, foot race to get there. He's won it. 1v1 now with John Nelson. Cerrillo in retreat as well. Cerrillo trips up Kamungo. And that's an easy yellow card decision. And an attacking free kick coming for Dallas at the other end.
And at a not too bad position either. It's going to be along the left side at about 30 yards.
And obviously a different matchup there, but Kamungo did what Sarver was unable to do on the other breakaway opportunity, and that's get his body in between the man and the ball and ensure that if there was going to be contact from Cerrillo, it was going to have to go through the body. Cerrillo that time had the luxury of a teammate back and I think was, all things considered, happy to take the foul.
Yeah, I think Sarver was trying to do that, and Garces was just a little too fast on that previous sequence. Sarver just wasn't able to, with moving at top speed with the ball, to fully get over, sort of move another step to the right to make Garces slow down a little bit.
It's going to be Petar Musa to take the free kick. Petar Musa into the top of the wall. Galaxy player hits the deck as he took the full force of that Petar Musa shot. It's Elijah Winder. Haven't seen Musa take too many free kicks. That one had a decent shape on it, but not enough to clear a pretty tall LA Galaxy human barrier.
Yeah, the Galaxy wall did a pretty good job there, jumping simultaneously. Well, I said a minute ago that Petar Musa wasn't going to get the scoring record.
Can't write it off tonight.
I jumped the gun a little bit, didn't I? Because he's still got 7 minutes here, 7 minutes plus stoppage time.
Winder's going to be replaced by Tucker Lepley. He's got some instructions for his teammates as he makes his way in from the bench. Looks like he'll pop out wide on the left, move Fagundes into a more central position.
I mean, as of right now, the result stays the same. Dallas can still finish anywhere from 6th to 10th.
That's why they call it decision day, I suppose. There's Cerrillo, ball over the top to Cuevas. Back to Gabriel Peck. Kamungo blocks the pass through, bounces back for Peck. Now Cerrillo. Nelson wide for Lepley. First action for him. His pass is blocked by Shaq Moore. Breaks back the Galaxy's way.
Yeah, the thing is, Ryan, it doesn't change things substantially for Dallas if they drop the point here, so I think they've got cause to go for it.
Sarver, one of the avenues to do that. Here he is 1v1 into the attacking half with Fagundes. Now Nelson getting back, and Sarver puts it past Fagundes and wins a free kick. Should be a yellow card as well.
I thought so too.
Don't see it immediately out of the pocket of the referee. Good work from Sarver, though. We talked about Farrington's spirit living on even in his absence. It's very Logan Farrington.
I mean, if he can add some technical quality to his game and maybe just a little bit more in terms of positioning on defense, I think he could be a contributor next year to FC Dallas.
Kappas going to take the free kick from the far side. Galaxy set their line 20 yards from goal. Here's a bending ball towards the back post to Boubacar, challenging for it and whistled for either a foul or for going early. .96 touches for Gabriel Peck. Still with time to go. There's going to be multiple Galaxy players in triple digits. Here's Cuevas wide on the right. 4 players make their run into the area towards the back post. The sliding Uriguide puts it over the bar behind for a corner.
I mean, facing his own goal, moving at pretty good speed, sliding. It's a brave player who then takes that ball and tries to just hit it anywhere but into his own net, which is exactly what Uriguide did.
Now on the corner kick, Peck in towards the near post, headed away by Boubacar, top of the box. Nelson sets it up for Fagundes. Sarver able to close him down quickly.
Peck loves that near post goal attempt, doesn't he, off that corner kick from the He hits with his left foot from the right side.
It's time to go.
It looked almost like slow motion as Peck picked up a loose ball. He's got a lot of Dallas players around him, but he's just able to sort of maneuver through them a little bit and carve out just a tiny little bit of space. Nobody really getting in to challenge the shot. And he just, at about 10 yards, he just sort of rolls it from a little bit on the left side back to the back post. I mean, Kappas is there, Uriguide is there, Sarver's in the area. Just nobody sort of gets in front of the shot. Shaq Moore gets closest to it. Or no, I'm sorry, that's Abubakar. Sort of sticks his right leg out. Dallas is going to have to do a little bit of work now just to get that point back. But the good news, Ryan, is, as I said, you know, dropping to 1 point that they would get from the draw really doesn't change things that much in the standings.
Pedrinho going to be the final roll of the dice here, on for Ramiro. Some more attacking ideas into the middle of the field. 2 minutes plus stoppage time to make an impact. Here's Pedrinho into the feet of Musa. Musa puts it over the top, looking for Sarver. Didn't make the run. It's through to Micevic. How much time will be added on? I don't think it'll be too much. Most of this second half, the ball's been in play at the feet of the Galaxy.
As I sit here and stare at the standings a little bit more, it does change a couple of things a bit.
Colorado could maybe sneak in with a draw,
because they would have an advantage in the tiebreaker, which is the first tiebreaker, which is number of wins.
And we mentioned Vancouver is not a place you want to go needing a win. It's definitely not a place you want to go without Petter Musa and Logan Farrington and Ramiro needing any kind of result. As Dallas will have a corner kick to defend here. Galaxy going to make one final change. Nascimento is going to be replaced here. As the Galaxy recalibrate. Parente will take his place.
Well, it's Gabriel Peck that made the really nice little curved pass into Winder for the opening goal, and then of course Peck scores what now stands as the game winner if this result holds. So we did mention that, you know, he was the guy that was the danger man tonight.
Galaxy working the short corner again. This time happy to maintain possession near the corner flag. Julio defending and shielding it over the line. 4 minutes added on for this Dallas rescue mission. Trying to keep the undefeated streak alive. Get an important point in the playoff push. Julio, diagonal ball out to Sarver. Receives it on the far side, waiting for support. Caught up under his feet initially. Now a drop of the shoulder, trying to free himself up. Chipped ball looking for Pedrinho. Top of the box, head of the way. Kappas recovers possession, back to Abubakar. Pedrinho through the lines. Finds Shaq Moore in an advanced position. Set back for Sarver. Kappas again ahead to Shaq Moore. Sarver goes on the overlap. Moore loses out to Parente. And Garza sends it down the field.
I wish Shaq Moore would have played Sarver on the overlap there.
Pedrinho, first time ball into Shaq Moore, finds Musa. Musa out to Bernie Kamungo, top of the box, left-footed shot. And again, just like Musa in the first half, lost his footing at the crucial moment.
But unlike Musa, a while ago, I think Musa should have shot. I think that time Bernie Kamungo maybe could have played the ball into the back post, where I think he had an angle into Anderson Julio.
Maybe some cramp for Bernie Kamungo as he took that effort on as well. Long ball towards Barry, flicked on header. Peck, I believe, is in an offside position. Flag never came up. Julio gets it back to Collodi. Halfway through, 4 minutes added on. Gide back to Collodi. Dallas needing to find an avenue forward. Collodi going down Route 1, direct, looking for Pedrinho. Cuevas wins the header. Cerrillo turns back, plays Cuevas again. They'll just whack it long this time. Arguide wins the header. Julio and Peck get tangled up. Referee didn't see enough for a foul, and then Pedrinho's fouled by Cerrillo. The entire Dallas bench is up in arms as the yellow card is out for not sure who on the Galaxy side. Looks like Parente, who's just in the game, has now picked up a yellow card.
It's been a night of chaos out there, and it's sort of finishing that way. Just a lot going on that one. Cap is trying to pick up the ball. Urguita making a run through and not understanding that and getting frustrated that he didn't get the ball, not understanding that Kappas was still trying to collect the ball. Marufo was showing yellow cards.
Eric Cole's made one last roll of the dice. Alvaro's on as the attacking set piece weapon here. As Kappas lines it up from near the halfway line. Ibiaga's on as well. Pedrinho it is that takes it into the danger area. Mitrovic comes and gets two hands to it, punching away. And then Sarver wins an attacking set piece wide on the right side. And with those weapons up off the bench, Ibiaga and Alvaro.
And Fagundes, does Fagundes already have a yellow card? It's been hard to keep up.
Yeah.
He just punched the ball away.
This gives Dallas a good opportunity.
It was a really silly foul from Fagundes, but it was on. Sam Sarver was the one that collected the foul there.
Well, we still haven't seen who was taken off for those last two changes, but they've got targets to aim at here as Pedrinho stands over the free kick. Flights it in. Header won by the Galaxy, set by Sam Sarver, top of the box. Back out wide for Pedrinho. 1v1. Plays it down the line, looking for Sarver, too much on it, and Sarver at full stretch, unable to keep it in play. Time may just have expired here on the Dallas comeback effort.
I tell you what, Ryan, sometimes it's just not your night. And
it was a bad time for it to not be Dallas's night.
I'm not sure it was all Dallas's fault either. You know, I think some of this is born of frustration because I think they rightly feel a little hard done by on the Logan Farrington early red card.
Mitrovic sends it long, and that'll do it tonight. The Dallas unbeaten streak snapped in LA, and it's going to go down to decision day. 2-1 your final score. Everything about this game colored by the first half red card decision against Logan Farrington. Subs provided Dallas a spark in the second half. Sarver setting up Julio. It was Gabriel Peck with the decisive moment to win the game for the Galaxy. And it'll go down to Vancouver away on the final day for FC Dallas, looking to punch their ticket to the 2025 MLS Cup playoffs. Thank you for joining us wherever you're listening on the FC Dallas app or on the YouTube channel. We'll talk about it and more on the post-game show, break everything down that we saw tonight. Thanks for joining us throughout the game. As this one finishes LA 2 and Dallas 1, you've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. and the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Bernard Kamungo. You are listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
After 90-plus at Dignity Health Sports Park, it's FC Dallas not clinching a playoff spot, falling 2-1 to longtime rival, the LA Galaxy. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas postgame show brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you this evening by UMB Bank. See how UMB can help you achieve your business goals. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a few moments by the voices of tonight's contest, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But let's start first with our postgame highlights. There wasn't any of those in the first half for FC Dallas. As 17 minutes in, Logan Farrington gets sent off with a straight red card for a, let's call it, questionable foul against an LA Galaxy player. Regardless, no review. He is sent off. Dallas is down to 10 men. And then in the 42nd minute, it's Elijah Winder putting one past Michael Colodi. That made it 1-0 at the halftime break in favor of the Galaxy. Eric Quill makes two changes after halftime. He brings in Anderson Julio and Sam Sarver, and that's the duo that breaks the deadlock.
Money on his back, moves to frees himself up. Now he's got his head up. It's the switching ball out towards Shaq Moore. Shaq Moore wins the header in behind for Sam Sarver. Julio waits in the middle. Early ball in. Anderson Julio from the penalty spot equalizes the game. Set up by Sarver. Julio finds the leveler. And 6 minutes into the second half, the changes pay off for Eric Quill.
The Ecuadorian made it 1-1 in the 52nd minute, giving Dallas 1 point at that point in time as they were trying to hold out down a man. But alas, it would not hold, as in the 87th minute, it was Gabriel Peck who had the assist on Winder's goal, puts one on it, just rolls it past Michael Colodi at about 10 yards. That made it 2-1, and Dallas was not able to come back. They drop all three tonight to the wooden spoon contending Galaxy. Let's look at your post-game stats. They're brought to you by UMB Bank. Galaxy lead the possession battle 67-33. 13 shots for the Galaxy, 5 of those on target. Dallas comes away with 9 shots, 3 of those on target. 11 corners for the home side, just 1 for FC Dallas. 2 saves that night for Novak Mitrovic, 3 saves for Michael Colodi. 13 fouls, 4 yellow cards for the Galaxy, 8 fouls, 3 yellow cards, and a red card for FCD, of course, the red being Logan Farrington. As we welcome in the voices of this one, it's Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And Ryan, I'll start here with you, and then we'll kind of move down the table here. There's a lot of places we can go with this one, but I'm really just curious as we sit here in the afterglow with a couple minutes to think, how are we feeling about this one? Because there's a lot of emotion in this one.
Yeah, I think it's a real shame. I just think it's a real shame because 32 games before tonight, 9 months of so many people putting in so much work to get the team to a spot where they can win and clinch their playoff spot with a game to go, take the pressure off of decision day, and the game is completely ruined by a completely, inexplicably bad decision from the referee in the first half, making Dallas play 70-plus minutes with a red card in a situation where nobody, I think, on the Galaxy team would have even expected a red card to come out of the pocket. That was, for me, textbook yellow to both sides, and we move on with the game. And for him to come in, just, no second thoughts, straight red card, no review. Everything about the game hinged on that moment. And, hopefully when we look back, everything the Dallas season doesn't hinge on that moment because they've done so much work to get back to this place where they were within touching distance of clinching the spot in the playoffs. And, yeah, everything undone by, unfortunately, something that was largely out of their control tonight.
Yeah, I think my best summary is what I just said right before the game broadcast left the air, which is that sometimes it's just not your night. I think that it was not a good decision from Jair Marufo. Yeah, it does happen. I think Marufo also maybe erred, and that after Logan Farrington did whatever he did to elicit that decision, he was flung to the ground by Diego Fagundes or Nascimento. Sort of pushed them both. It happened at the same time. That should have been a yellow, which maybe would have been Fagundes, leaving the field later with a second yellow card. So that happens, and you get Uriguete making a rare mistake on the goal from the first half goal from Winder that sort of led to that one. Then you get Ramiro with a yellow card, which means he sits out. You got Musa with a yellow card, which means he sits out next week. So a lot of things happening that some on maybe a questionable refereeing decision, some on some on Dallas, and some just, as I said, it's sort of not your night, because even on the winning goal from Gabriel Peck, again, there's a lot of Dallas players there. It's just nobody gets in front of them, and that might have been sort of from defending, having to do a lot of work, man down for 88 minutes. So a lot of things happening there. All to say, sometimes just things aren't going your way.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that did go Dallas's way on the night was that RSL was unable to get even a point from their game at Seattle. But that means there's still 4 teams in contention for these spots. Dallas, when they were, holding the 1-1 draw, was going to eliminate San Jose completely from the occasion. But now San Jose back within a shout. If they win on decision day against a slumping Austin team, they could find themselves into that final playoff spot. Colorado has a much tougher task up against LAFC. So, I mean, I think Dallas would potentially clinch with a draw on decision day. We'd have to do some more research into that and get back to you on the FC Dallas agenda this week. But most likely a point would get you there. But, I mean, the way Vancouver is playing right now and down 3 really crucial pieces through suspension, it's going to be a really tough task. I think Dallas will do everything they can, obviously, during the week to prepare, knowing they're not going to have those guys. But they're also going to be hoping for some help from around the league on decision day for sure.
Well, even with the draw next week, if RSL and Colorado won, then Dallas would be out. So a draw wouldn't necessarily clinch next week the way I see it. Is that right?
I think so, because Dallas has only 10 wins on the season. And the first tiebreaker, if you're wondering, is wins. Colorado with 11 and Real Salt Lake with 12. So that's, that tiebreaker doesn't go in Dallas's favor. Just they've had so many draws this season that they would drop below Salt Lake or Colorado in the case of finishing level on points.
Yeah, well, Dallas, I think the standings we're looking at right now haven't been updated. Dallas only has 41 points right now. So they could a draw would not necessarily clinch it. Although, it's Colorado playing LAFC. That's a tough one. So RSL has a little better road next week when they play at home against St. Louis.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm most concerned about San Jose. Just the form Austin have been in.
They get Austin at home.
That's a game that you don't mind if you're San Jose, and now they've got an opportunity. If it had finished 1-1 tonight for FC Dallas, they could have taken that possibility off the table. But unfortunately, that late goal means San Jose has some life, and it's going to be interesting. We're going to have it for you, of course, here on the FC Dallas Radio Network, and we're going to have probably the second screen, the third screen, fourth screen up with all the games kicking off simultaneously on decision day. Dallas out in Vancouver. It's going to be an interesting one, however it shakes out by the end.
I'm curious, and Steve, I'll start here with you with this one. Obviously, Quill makes the changes we expected at halftime. Julio in, Sarver in. It pays off pretty well. But we don't see another change from him until, if I'm looking at my notes here correctly, the 89th minute, the Pedrinho
after
sub.
the goal goes in.
And then, of course, we get the almost non-essential subs of Alvaro and Nibiaga in the 90th plus 4th. I'm curious, how do you think he handled that situation? Not so much even for aggressiveness of win, though, if that's how you want to take it, go for it. But it seemed like really as we got about to the 75th minute, even the 80th minute, there were some tired legs out there because Dallas had to do a lot of defending. And I'm curious how, even with a bit of a depleted roster, how Quill played that one tonight.
Well, you said it right there. I don't know how many true options he has there. And to be honest with you, Sam, playing a man down, even LA Galaxy, they're last place. They're not a good team. But playing a man down on the road, you end up with 9 shots. You end up with 3 shots on target. It's not bad. You're not going to expect a lot more than that. And the fact is, I mentioned during the broadcast, Sam Sarver doesn't help you a lot in possession, but hey, he drew a couple of key fouls that set up some set piece opportunities. He got behind Garces, making that one good early run, and he had a couple of steps on Garces. Garces just happens to be one of the fastest center backs in the league. The point is, and Bernie Kamungo with a pretty good opportunity near the end. The arrangement was working. Even if it wasn't quite what they had for the first 10 minutes of the second half, there were still moments up there where you saw the threat. So given the limited bench options, I'm not sure what else Eric Quill could have done there.
Yeah, I think, maybe the area of the field you wanted to reinforce was in the middle, and it all comes down to what do you think Paxton can give you, and is this the type of game where bodies are flying in and knees are banging into the knees that you want to bring him into? It's probably not. So even though, he was fit and available, this wasn't really the game for him. That means there's not really any, options in the middle of the field besides bringing Pedrinho in, and that's obviously a big shift in terms of an attacking player taking the place of a defensive midfielder. So I actually liked what I saw from Pedrinho. I know that he is really the go-to guy when Dallas is chasing a game, but he showed me some of that same quality that we saw early in the season when he helped Dallas to some road comebacks. I think, with the lineup that Dallas has available to them, he's probably going to have to start in Vancouver, and I think he's actually had some decent moments recently to show he might have something as well to provide in that game, supplying, Anderson Julio, maybe Sam Sarver starting in the front line, which, not a place we expected to be in on decision day, but it's going to be needs must. And I've been encouraged. There was some frustration with Pedrinho in the Galaxy home game a couple weeks ago, I think warranted. But besides that, his recent cameos off the bench have been really solid, and I think he'll have something to give Dallas next week.
Yeah, I sort of see in my head, I'm trying to sort of concoct a lineup there. I think they'll probably have to have Ibiaga, Abubakar, and Azazi in the back, Bernie on the left, and Shaq on the right. From there, it's probably going to be Delgado, Pedrinho, and Anderson Julio up front is what I would think it would be. Maybe you can slip Sarver into one of those spots.
Yeah, Sarver Dietzen will be back from international duty as an attacking option as well. Tough one to throw him in for his first start with the club as decision day. Everything's on the line, but that's, like I said, we're down to needs must and not where you want to be on decision day.
Yeah, and I wouldn't see, seeing as Dietzen really hasn't been a preferred option off the bench just yet for Eric Quill. I think Eric Quill is telling us something with that, so I really wouldn't expect to see him in there. I would expect to see Pedrinho start long before I would see Dietzen start.
And you really hope that Sebastian Lletget can shake off the knock he picked up. I know he traveled with the team this week, but who knows if he'll be ready. But if he is, that would be a big help. I know it's turf, but hey, it's all you got to arm the battle stations next week because it does not matter.
Well, I disagree. I don't think you can take a guy that's been out 3-4 weeks now and just sort of throw him in on artificial turf and say
maybe not from the start, but
definitely not as a starter. Right, definitely not as a starter.
No, hopefully he can be an option off the bench. But I thought you were saying just throw him in there.
No, most definitely not. That'd be silly. I'm saying 20 minutes off the bench if you need him, or maybe even a little bit more. Just definitely not to start. That'd be insane even for me. I must admit. Another disappointing part we've mentioned. Obviously no Logan, no Ramiro next week. The one that really is disappointing for a myriad of reasons, no Petar Musa. He picks up a yellow card in the 70th minute, which means since he did not score tonight, he will no longer be able to break the single-season record. He will sit at 18. He also won't play next week. And, man, that is a
what is it about 18?
I don't know.
There's a curse on it for sure. I think the most frustrating thing is he had done so well with the discipline recently and avoiding picking up that yellow card, and I think just the frustration of so many things going against the team tonight, he really gave away a needless, foul and yellow card in this one that I think he'll be frustrated with himself when he looks back and thinks about that. It was just unnecessary. It wasn't a good foul. It wasn't a tactical foul. It wasn't one they had to take. And now, your preferred backup for Musa's out with Farrington next week, and Musa himself is out. So maybe they can appeal the red card decision. I think they have
grounds.
To, don't
they?
They'll try.
I was about to say
there's grounds for an appeal for sure.
I see that they can definitely do that. They typically don't appeal. They typically don't uphold those appeals. Now it did happen. It was Diego Luna just not too long ago that
it's twice this season it's been overturned. I think.
Yeah, so it can happen, and I think they have a reasonable case for it, but it's a pretty high bar to rescind those red cards when the disciplinary committee gets those appeals.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're turning and looking at decision day and all of the ramifications of what we saw tonight. I think there's still some positives to take away from tonight, even in such a really damaging result to the season as a whole. I mean, we've talked about no matter where the season goes from here, the team has shown us so much over the recent weeks that we didn't know they had in them, back in mid-June. So I think Bernard Kamungo, for me, really stood out, even shifting back to a traditional back four left back. I mean, this is so far from what the player that broke through first a couple of seasons back as a winger, a box crashing winger. That was his game, and now he's evolved in so many different ways. Seeing him stand up against tough wingers week in, week out. Gabriel Peck today didn't get a sniff against Kamungo in the wide areas. When he was in field, he had a little bit more luck and eventually got the goal. But, I mean, Kamungo for me was excellent. Osaze outside of the mistake, which it was a big mistake. Unfortunately, just unable to read the header in the middle of the field, and it led to the goal. But some great emergency defending from him and from Lawless as well. So, Musa didn't get any real sniffs at goal for the most part, but really, really solid in the middle of the field, holding the ball up, being a great target man for Kolodi. So some positive performances. I think even Kolodi had a really good game coming for crosses and dealing with the physicality that this game offered inside the penalty area. So that, and there's another decision. Martin Poss will be back next week. Who starts in goal in Vancouver? I mean, there's so many things to talk about, even just not just looking at the game tonight, but looking ahead.
I actually think quite a few players played well. I mean, remember, they played about 75 minutes, a man down here on the road. And again, the caveat is it's the Galaxy. They're not very good this year. But everybody that you mentioned there, plus I would add that I thought Boubacar was solid back there. I thought Shaq Moore was fine. Kappas was good. We talked about how sort of his bread and butter is helping control possession, but Dallas didn't have a lot of possession, so Kappas didn't get a lot of time on the ball. We saw the one mistake that he made and raised his hand immediately. Even Osaze on the mistake, it was a mistake of aggression. He tried to win that ball in the air, and it just dropped a little bit quicker than he thought, and it sort of got away from him. So even that's not the worst mistake in the world. Sarver and Anderson Julio come in off the bench, and they do exactly what you want, which is give you some kind of impact immediately. And they scored 7 minutes after their introduction. So I think individually there were some good performances out there. The one thing they didn't get was the one thing they didn't have today was Gabriel Peck. He sort of made the game for the Galaxy and providing the assist on a really nice pass on the first goal that put Josh Winder through, and then scoring the game winner. So they didn't have that one big game breaker, although Musa did his best, because even Musa, as he came back well into his end to help in possession, that hit a big switch that turned into Dallas's goal. So it was Gabriel Peck just being the difference maker tonight.
Yeah, and I think in a situation like this, he had over 100 touches in the game. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's all based on the scenario of the red card early in the game, just giving him so many opportunities. Dallas ultimately, they couldn't do much about it. He was going to get the opportunities, and eventually he's going to make you pay. It took until late in the game for him to get his goal, but it felt like it was always going to come through him if they were going to find the breakthrough. And 100+ touches for Gabriel Peck. He's going to come away with something on the score sheet.
Well, the other guy to comment on for the Galaxy, and really only because he's a former FC Dallas man that we like, is Edwin Cerrillo. 128 touches, as he was the metronome in there. He was the guy that held the ball a lot more in the first half than in the second half, I thought. But he was the pace setter. He was the creative force in there for the Galaxy. I thought he was really good tonight, and probably not coincidence playing against his old team. I'm sure he's a little extra inspired, but he's been solid for them all year, has Edwin Cerrillo.
I do want to circle back to one thing Ryan mentioned as we talk about, obviously, Martin Poss will be back next week. If you haven't been engaging in Sicko's Southeastern Asian World Cup qualifying soccer like some of us have, 2/3 of us in the room have, Martin Poss has looked really good on international duty. Obviously, for those who are unaware, Indonesia did not win either of their games. They lose 1-0 to Iraq today and 3-2 to Saudi Arabia on Wednesday. But none of that's on Martin Poss. He looked in very good form. So Eric Quill does have a very difficult decision.
I've got it. We start both of them, or even all three of them.
Go on.
And we just go for the draw.
Okay.
See. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, you do need strikers.
How good could Martin Poss be without his hands? You just play him as a goalkeeper without his hands.
So I'll bring this conversation back to reality by saying
we have to just separate ourselves from what we saw on the screen tonight.
One of the things that Eric Quill has shown us all year is that he likes to run it back after success. Well, to your point here, there really is a big decision to be made next week, because if Dallas had gone out and won today with against LA, there would be no decision to be made. He would stick with Michael Kolodi. And now,
it's anyone's guess. Yeah, it's anyone's guess. I mean, I think they both have a case. They all three have a case, and it's just such an interesting situation. But ultimately, I think whoever is going to be in goal is going to be certainly needs to perform, because the Vancouver Whitecaps have been unbelievable recently, adding obviously Thomas Muller, Ryan
And they
Gauld,
worked tonight too.
getting back,
back from down
getting a
1-0.
late win
Yep.
Against Orlando today, so they're in some good form, and they're looking to wrap up the number 1 seed in the West. They have something to play for. All those top 4 teams are still in contention, so I mean, everything besides Seattle Sounders finishing 5th is up in the air on decision day next week in the Western Conference.
One personnel thing I'm interested in, because it's kind of representing a small pattern. So in those 2 subs that come out, obviously they bring out Patrickson for Sam Sarver. We pretty much thought that was going to, Patrickson was going to come out because he just didn't fit the man-down formation. That's no fault against him. But the other player that ends up coming off is Ka'ike as they move Ramiro back into the midfield. And we've seen a couple times now where Eric has moved Ka'ike out of the game, either to put someone like Ramiro back in the midfield. He was the one sacrificed when Collodi was sent off for his red card, when they brought in Jacob Jackson. He came off for, I believe it was Paxton last week, or maybe they made a different decision. I'd have to go back and check. But it seems like Eric is bringing Ka'ike off a little bit more. Should we read anything into that, or do we think that's just the nature of the game as the situation is this moment, Ryan?
Yeah, I think you can look at it 2 different ways. I think, on the one hand, if you're going to be playing large stretches of the game down a man, you like his industry, you like his running and his ability to cover ground. But I think when the game plays out the way it did, Galaxy dominating possession, Dallas having to shift side to side in their low block, it makes sense to have Ramiro and Kappas in there, the 2 more experienced guys that just have a little bit more of that defensive awareness and positioning. And so I think that's, especially in a down-a-man situation, that it makes the most sense to me. Ideally, you'd like to have him out there for his ability to cover ground, but he doesn't offer a lot on the ball either in terms of going forward, so he can't really be the guy to lead the counterattack. I think, you want someone out there that can do that. If they're going to, lack on the defensive side, they need to give you something going the other way. And he's just not, at 19 years old, that's not where his game is at right now. So I'm not surprised to see, I think, just turning to the experience and just the game know-how and the grit of Ramiro and Kappas.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it teaches us anything that we didn't already know, which is that he is a very young player. His tactical awareness isn't today what it will be at this point next year or the year after that. And if you're going to make those personnel changes and sort of shift your game model, somebody's got to come out. And it's not that.
Maybe all we learned is that when there's 11 guys on the field, he's in the 11. When there's 10 guys on the field, he's not in the 10.
That's it, right? That's exactly right. So it's not that he's doing necessarily that much wrong, but if you have to pick a guy to come out, then maybe he's your first choice.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think he did anything wrong tonight. I think it's just an interesting little thing to watch.
He does have to. He does need to work on the defensive awareness aspect of his game. Because a lot of times what happens, we talked about this before, it's sort of a phenomenon with players that sometimes they become crowd favorites because, they're hustling out there, and running around and, tackling somebody. And when the fact is, well, if they had noticed the situation a little bit earlier, they wouldn't have even had to, make the tackle. It's the old, who's the Italian defender that would
Maldini.
say, Maldini says, if I have to make a tackle, I've already made a mistake. So it's something like that.
Well, I normally wouldn't say let's look at next week this early, but there's a lot of consequences from this week to next. But before we do that, is there any final thoughts that we haven't gotten to on that we just saw tonight in L.A.?
It was gutty, still gritty. It's
gutting as well. With the
both.
Result going the way it does, because so much now is up in the air that was in their hands going into the night, and then the control was taken away from them by the decision, I think, and still fought tooth and nail and almost got the result that would have at least eliminated one potential contender next week.
Yeah,
but it's anyone's game next week.
There were games, Sam. You keep saying, what we saw there tonight. I don't know. There have been a lot of games this year, earlier in the season, when I walked away just thinking, this thing's a little bit of a mess. And, what I saw tonight was just some things not really going their way. Again, I saw some good performances. I saw the fight. I saw a good tactical change. So, look, this is not their shining moment. Don't get me wrong. But, I just wouldn't walk. If I'm in the Dallas locker room right now, I'm not feeling awful about that one because I feel like circumstances just sort of worked against you tonight.
Yeah, you're probably not feeling great, but I don't think it's, I think they did reasonably what they could, and just sometimes the soccer gods just do not favor you. But that does mean everything goes on to next week. Dallas heads up to play Vancouver, who currently sit first in the Western Conference after a comeback win tonight. So they are, while they do have the inside edge on first place, they do have something to play for as well, because San Diego can still leap up and take over that spot. They do need to win, and they would need Vancouver to lose and a couple other things to go their way. But for Dallas specifically, they are in a really tight bind, because as we sit here right now, no Ramiro, no Peter Musa, that is for sure. Logan Farrington almost assuredly will miss, though I guess we'll see if the displayer committee helps Dallas in that way. I'm not gonna bet on it, but it could happen. But that means you're going to lose your two best attackers. You're going to lose arguably your best communicator in the midfield. Boy, and also the knock-on effect, I know this doesn't matter as much, you're probably going to have to make some changes to the bottom end of your roster, which might mean NTSC, who starts their playoff run the next day in California against the Town, they might lose a little bit of firepower. Someone like a Sam Sarver, who's probably going to have to play a decent role. I mean, it's going to be, if they're going to do it next week, this might be the ultimate test. Can this team mentality grit their way to the playoffs after this week they had the opportunity and everything just went awry?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be more time and more topic for conversation, I think, during the week on the FC Dallas agenda, where we'll get into all of that. But so many lineup decisions, so much scoreboard watching to be done. Ultimately, it is still in their hands next week. Win and you're in. Same situation as this week. Much tougher task going to the first place team in the West as opposed to the 15th place team in the West. And, the long list of absentees that you already mentioned. Yeah, if they're going to do it next week, it's going to be very, very memorable. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's as you said a while ago. That's why they call it Decision Day. Just in case everybody still listening doesn't remember, simultaneous kickoffs in the Western Conference. So nobody gets the edge in knowing what kind of result they might need. That's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, I think that's a genius thing. I know that's something that other leagues do across the world. And
Major League Soccer didn't do it for a long time.
I'm glad they do now.
Started about in 2012 or 13 or something.
Yeah, it's one of the better things they've picked up from the other leagues. I think that makes it – it's an 8 o'clock kick from beautiful British Columbia. So that means the FC Dallas Radio Network will go live with pregame at 7:30 with kickoff just after 8. But that's going to do it for tonight's FC Dallas postgame show. FCD loses 2-1 down a man to LA Galaxy. And, boy – if you're looking to pick up one, it's going to be next week. It's going to be a biggie, so come join us here on the network. But for Engineer Barry Walters, for Ryan Figert, for Steve Davis, I have been Sam Hale. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
The preceding